Yep.
Tell me, what the is going on with Sentinels? Why am I seeing all this cryptic from
What
them?
the does it mean, dude?
So Dapr obviously, all right, unlucky, yeah. Feeling a little bit anxious.
New Turn is one of my, they're top 2 favorite in Iceland. I'm gonna be straight up. They're scary. Version1 has showed us that they are a scrappy team that wins by any means necessary. Am I worried about their gameplay and their style in international play? Yes, I'm very worried about it because I think that they're way too vulnerable. They give up way too much of, they have no map control is what I'm trying to say.
Today, of course, plenty to cover. So first of all, some roster changes or roster speculations, mix-ups all across the world. We'll talk a little bit about Reykjavik as well, some of the news coming out of the region, the build-up, of course, into Masters. Later on, we're going to have RyanCentral back on the show as well. He's basically part of the furniture at this point because we want to go a little bit in depth about how EMEA, the region itself, is looking coming into Masters. And then we'll talk about good old North America. Yeah, the Star-Spangled Banner. Yeah, I have no affinity at all with these concepts, but we're going to talk about them. We've got one American on the show, and I think that should be sufficient. First of all, let's dive in. Let's dive in because the first bit of roster news, I think, for me was, it felt, look, listen, without being harsh, it felt a long time coming, but it still was kind of rough to see this. Obviously, TSM have made an executive decision and made a pretty meteor. I mean, any roster change on this roster is huge, right, guys? But this one. Yeah. This one was pretty big.
I'd say it's going to be big for the simple fact that TSM, they were on top of the leaderboards. You had Wardell, who was the best opera in the game. TSM, the #1 team in the game. Then they have Myth behind him. Coach Myth, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, like, that fire fizzled out, Mitch. And the thing is, when that fire fizzled out, it wasn't like there was a little bit left. We don't hear about TSM anymore. Think about it. Masters, where's TSM at? Nowhere at all. So someone's going to have to get the blame. And when you look at a team that's great and you look at it from top to bottom to top, the easiest people to blame are the ones that are going to be at the bottom because no one's going to sit there in that team meeting and say, Wardell, you're the issue. You missed some op shots on the scent and it just wasn't who you used to be. They're going to look and say, all right, Cutler and Hayes aren't as productive as the other 3 when it comes to killing because killing ultimately gets wins, right? So you look at players like that who's really good when it comes to utility. It's unfortunate, but we kind of all saw it coming. TSM, they're going to have to make changes anyways, and Brax is in the mix still, right?
Yeah.
I think when we talk about TSM, or the only news that we hear about TSM right now is where are they? Why are they not qualifying so far too, right? So definitely some sad news to see that Cutler is on the bench right now, but you know, we've had the announcement that Brax was there about a month ago, I think, or 3 weeks ago, but they still haven't really integrated him at the fullest. We've seen some screenshots of what the roster could look like now, what the agent composition could be. It looks to still have Wardell as a jet operator, which is totally fine. It just like they have to find a good solution around that as well, and around his playstyle if they still want to count on him to be the star fragger for the team. And I think they're still trying to build around that. But having Hayes or having Cutler, that's 2 great minds for IGLs. If you have to replace one of them and try to bring in more firepower with Brax, it had to be one of those 2, unfortunately.
Okay, so, I mean, to be fair, this is, with how busy the Valorant calendar has been since the start of this year, this is a very lengthy off-season that TSM are experiencing right now, right? I mean,
been on off-season this whole year, dude.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, let's hope not. Let's hope in stage 3 that they can actually start to get involved and find themselves a spot in Berlin. But I think that we saw the Brax experiment earlier on, but maybe contrary to what we expected, it was actually him and Hayes that were being used more interchangeably because their roles were so similar, right? But I think it's safe to say that it was a markedly weaker, less dynamic TSM that we saw without Hayes in the lineup, right? And I think we talked about Hayes potentially being dropped on this show, right? We loved, clinging on to these rumors that don't obviously end up, coming out. But we sort of said this is weird given how authoritative a voice he is in this team. Cutler as well. I think this. Listen, we don't like scoreboard Stevens out here, okay? And in general, like we spent a lot of time standing up for Cutler. And I was on the premise that his IGLing was so crucial to this team, but it's possible that is not the case, especially in a world where he's the person that you substitute with Brax, who I don't think is expected to be really an authoritative veteran voice on this team, or or doing sort of that heavy shot calling. So
Yeah.
Well,
Give it to
look,
someone else. I mean,
it gets.
Brax. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Vance.
Yeah, sorry, I was gonna say it gets back to that agent composition too, right? Because what does Cutler usually play for that team right now when he's IGLing? He's playing as that Sova.
Yeah.
And when you have TSM that's trying things out where they're gonna play double initiator, less duelist, but they still have some great firing talent with Drone, and Drone has played Sova in the beta, then you could kind of mix and match of like, okay, well, we have an in-game leader and a Sova player with Cutler, but we also have an in-game leader in Hayes. That's a pretty good Sentinel player that nobody else wants to play for the team. And then we also have Drone, that's a pretty good fragger still playing as a Sova. So you kind of have like a Cutler is like a 2-for-1 deal, but now you have a chance to support again Wardell a little bit more and try to see what Brax is going to do going into the roster later on too.
Wasn't this already happening? Wasn't Drone already playing Sova and Cutler was playing Astra?
You're right.
Yes, exactly. He was playing controller as Astra, and then you had Hayes calling as the Sentinel. But I think at that point now, it's who's going to be playing that smoke? Is it going to be Sabrosa now going back into smoke and stuff like that too, right? So I think you're starting to see potentially like an era for TSM where they don't need to play that double duelist anymore, and they just want to try to frag around Wardell.
Well, this is what bothers me though, Uber. It's the simple fact that it's like, okay, it's one thing we haven't seen on footage from tournament gameplay, Brax and Hayes playing together on this roster. We've seen different variations with different comps. That was freaky. You guys did that at the same time. But the thing is, as TSM now, what is this lineup going to look like? Because they're changing it so much to where I'm wondering, do they even know who they are now except Wardell?
Well, they have ages. They honestly have. They
have a lot of agents, but
no. I mean, they have ages. Sorry, they have like a ton of time. Like, if there's any time where like you want to make like wholesale changes to your team, this is probably your best opportunity before Berlin. At the very least, I don't know how much of a gap there's going to be. Well, I have seen the schedule, but who fucking knows? So
probably 2 weeks after Masters 2, like Masters 1.
That
shit's in September, man.
This is a brutal schedule, mate. In the Overwatch League, we have a break like every month, bro. We have a week off every month. We're in one right now. We straight fucking chilling. So that's kind of brutal for them. I wonder sort of, who ends up sort of, if maybe Hayes ends up being like a smoker kind of player, we see him like on the Omen and stuff like that. I always wondered, what that would kind of be like. Seeing Sabrosa on the Omen, everyone's like, man, this guy's so good on the Omen, but they kind of needed him in a duelist capacity, right? Or at least on the Sky or something like that, because he was like one of the few sort of Sky players on the team. But Drone and Hayes might be more interchangeable than we sort of thought. So look, fair enough to this team, but it's going to be a little while before we actually get any answers, guys. I think that's the reality of it.
Get me a raise in there, or get Wardell to rifle more. I think that's going to be a good start if Wardell's going to rifle more. But if not, try to figure out to implement that raise combo with the Astra.
Considering he's actually still one of the best rifle players in North America as well. I think that's something that goes so easily overlooked about him. It's like a nuance that a lot of viewers don't really latch onto, I think, is that. And everyone, it's been said multiple times, everyone on the team's like, I mean, I remember Hayes saying it in an interview. He was like, what the fuck, Wardell's he's like one of the best riflers in North America. Every time you see him pick it up, he does some serious work. I will say that TSM have definitely clung to the jet operator sort of, more than most. And you can sort of see why, because they're great at unraveling less coordinated teams with Wardell on the jet.
Yeah. And TSM gives like them as a team more chances to clinging on to that type of play style, right? Because if you look at everybody else, like if it's Gen G with Win being that jet operator, unfortunately he's gone. If you look at 100 Thieves with Dicey, unfortunately he's gone. If you're looking at any other team that has a full-time jet operator, Showtime, even the latest example in the tier 2 scene for E United, he's gone. So I think even in North America, for some teams, exactly. Maybe not CNED, or maybe not any Korean jets. Maybe not any Korean jets. They could still do something,
Everyone you named isn't Wardell, though. That's the biggest difference. TSM were great because it was that identity. We didn't look at Gen G and say
Wardell. Just saying.
You said who?
CNED could definitely be better than Wardell.
We're talking about. All right, we don't know that until Iceland, by the way. Oh yeah.
Well, we kind of do because they're both not there.
We're gonna see how the regions are, right? We're gonna see how the regions interact. But the thing is, everyone you named, Van Silly, you cannot say that they can carry the team on their back when an op like Wardell does. And even though there's a lot of talk, there there was talk about Scream being just good and him being too individual was hurting the team. But it's like, if he's getting kills and he's that dominant, you work that into your gameplay, because what's a champion without an identity? That's your identity. That's one part of it. You just got to figure out the rest of the team.
Rebuttal.
Yeah, Wardell is a great opper. And yeah, I did see him miss a lot recently, but the thing is, Wardell is still Wardell at the end of the day, though.
Rebuttal.
Go ahead.
What was Screenplay most recently, actually, with Liquid on Haven? He was playing Sage, right?
Yep.
He wasn't even playing a duelist anymore, too. So they even Liquid is taking a step back on certain maps to get away from like a duelist-centric or duelist-heavy composition, too. So, and every name that I've named, yes, they might not be as good as Wardell in terms of an operator, but every name that I've named, are they actually in Iceland? No.
They're gone. They're gone. You're right. Every name that we just named.
I mean, to be fair, Scream doesn't play Jet all the time is because Yampi's on this fucking team as well.
But then what was Yampi playing? Yampi was playing a fucking Killjoy on Haven. So you are seeing like a little bit more changes in terms of like, yes, it's still good to have a Jet. You just have to play right around there. But the abilities and the utility and how the meta is moving towards like people are getting much more success playing on a pulse plant type of scenario now in the game is where you're seeing like the abilities now shine a little bit more, where abilities necessarily don't kill. So Riot's got it right at that point, but they're definitely delaying a defuse.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are teams still like V1 though that still play double duelist.
Oh yeah,
with like the Astra and the Viper.
It still works for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so another rumor. Well, it's kind of a rumor. I mean, he kind of talked about this on social media, but Olafmeister, the competitive drive is still within me. I miss the good old days here, probably because like you realize how quickly people forget when you fuck off. So there was definitely an interview sort of him, because obviously he sort of stepped down from FaZe Clan.
Yes.
So of course he wants to compete. What the fuck? Yeah. You've been competing, like it's all you know at this point. This happens so often, I think, with like these really storied pro players that when they quit, it gets the silence is deafening.
Yeah.
Dude.
So I mean, he said he's had offers from Valorant and CS:GO. I don't think that he would take a Valorant offer if he gets a decent one in CS:GO, right? Which I imagine he would.
Is he on an EU team in CS right now?
Well, he's currently teamless, but he's played for FaZe. So he had like the international top tier roster that was like that powerhouse that was going to be like a full international that was going to do pretty well. But we all know Olafmeister from like his Fnatic days too in his prime, right? Olafmeister, Boostmeister, major winner at Fnatic, I think in like 2013, 2014. The infamous Boostmeister that had like the three-man stack on the top of Overpass that oversaw like all the way down towards terrorist spawn. Right? So that he is actually a known player. He's a great fragger. He's a consistent fragger too, which is why he's had a great pedigree in FaZe too. Even in FaZe, he got benched at some point where they couldn't find any results, and then suddenly like their fifth player had to get benched or something happened, and then he came to get replaced, and then suddenly he's like has the highest rating for the team in that tournament and has like a resurgence of like his skills. So there's still potential. There's still like something that you could find. It's kind of like one of those days where once in a blue moon you have like a stint of like, okay, well, Get Right's going to do well, Freiburg's going to do well, but then unfortunately it's like just a roller coaster in terms of performance right now.
So this is my question in, because I went out to get some Korean barbecue with Blue last night, and shout out to Blue, and we were talking about stuff like this, and I said, yo, how do you guys feel about CS players like coming to Valorant? Blue, Poland, and all of us was talking about it. We expect this to happen for real. Like I've seen Freakazoid playing the game. So many people are now coming, and the question is, where do they fit in, and when is this shit gonna go down for real? That's what I'm waiting for. So Olafmeister, the way you describe him, I don't watch CS. He's an innovator, and what type of play style would you say he dominates with? Is he a rifler, an opper, or what?
Yeah, he's
just
a
so
rifler.
I can get an idea.
He's a rifler.
Definitely a rifler, but definitely could pick up an op too. Like I mean, anybody in that roster for FaZe could be like a secondary or tier series opper. But most importantly, he's definitely like a fragger for a team.
Yeah, I mean, Olafmeister, I think wasn't since like 2018. I think that FaZe Clan roster had any sort of really huge results. But back when I was casting Counter-Strike, in fact, I think it was in IM Sydney where this roster played. You know, and this was I think the things for like this was an all-star roster, right? This was basically taking like the best players from like all around the world. So
Yes.
right now, I think who's on that team? Cold Zero's still on that team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is Rain still on that
Rain's
team?
still on there. Actually, I don't think Rain's on there
This
anymore.
is Japanese to me, but like I get it, 'cause I know
Okay,
these
well,
big names.
Cold Zero's like Cold Zero was yeah, he's like one of the Brazilian gods. Think like MW0 from Gameland,
yes,
right?
I
Like,
remember. I remember Coach.
Yeah, Rain's still in there. So they
Yeah.
have Rain. They brought back Kerrigan as an IGL too, because Kerrigan had at some point was leading that team, and that's I think when it was first formed, Kerrigan was in there. And they also
It
picked
was
up
like one of
Twist.
the first players that was dropped, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
I think the biggest news is bringing Twist. So then Twist coming out of Liquid. So then Liquid fucking loses Nitro and fucking Twist. Like those were like two key players right now
Getting
for the
fucked
Team
on.
Liquid roster for CS.
Absolutely getting fucked on. I mean, there is at some point where like we're going to get pretty saturated in terms of like NA orgs, but that's not going to stop Counter-Strike players coming over and taking a spot from like
Hell no.
I don't know, like an Effies or something like that. You know, like as good as incredible as V1 are, right? Like the CS players will still try and pile on. So it doesn't just because there's a bunch of NA teams or NA orgs in Valorant, it's not going to stop people coming from Counter-Strike. I think that in that article from Olive Meister, he says he doesn't really have any strong affinity for relationship to Valorant. I think it comes up just because it is like, it's always the question right now.
Yeah.
But it's never too late for CS players to switch
That's
to Valorant.
a politically correct answer if you're in his shoes, in my opinion. Because if you're
Yeah.
playing CS and that's your bread and butter when it comes to paying the bills, you don't want future employers to think, oh, if we don't do well, he could just dip to Valorant if he has an offer. So you always have to keep that door open.
It's implied though, isn't it? Right? Because so many people have.
But it has to be implied so people could understand.
It's
like,
leverage,
hey,
baby. It's actually leverage as well
yes.
against current org. So listen, really storied player in Counter-Strike history. One of the most famous, that Fnatic roster, I think, you know, with Crims, JW, all of that was one of the most incredible, most dominant Counter-Strike rosters that we've ever seen. So
even with Devil Walk in there.
yeah.
Like Devil Walk, Pronax, like even they went through a few changes, but that core 3 was definitely huge for those 3 in the past.
So I think you should be excited about it. I think if you're a fan of European Valorant, especially if someone like that gets involved. But I imagine there's still, look, you got to understand, this is a European Counter-Strike player, not a North American one. The opportunities for European Counter-Strike players are still very much there.
Yes.
I don't think it's nearly as, tough as it is for NACS players who are, what are they doing, playing in fucking Mountain Dew League and just, like, I don't know. So that's a bit rough for them. Let's move on because we talked about these rumored G2 changes, and I think that this rumor we had already talked about, and now it's starting to, there might be something to it, right? G2 were rumored to be making fairly wholesale changes, and Patatech and Artis could go to Heretics. Now that is starting to look, listen, people following people on Twitter is actually frighteningly accurate. All too often it just seems to be such a dead giveaway. Like, fucking open your DMs so you don't have to follow each other and give away the news, not leak this shit, right? But obviously, we don't know about, like, there's no official changes just to G2's roster, mind you. But Artis and Patatech, who really, to me, felt like the backbone of this particular team. Obviously, Heretics, I think Rubino and Nisao are stepping aside, or have had to step aside to a degree. And I thought like there were teams looking at Avova. Some team was looking to pick them up. So
I was gonna say, because I think wasn't it even G2 that was looking to get players within her Heretics? Yeah, they were. Here it is.
Yeah,
because we talked about it a few weeks ago. So they were trying to get Nuki and trying to get Avova from Heretics. So if there's a possibility that the rumor is now Artis and Patatech goes into there, because Heretic, according to the sources of 2 weeks ago when we talked about it, was like they weren't willing to sell those players yet because they still had some good results as Heretic. They still look pretty good. So maybe the price tag of that is a little bit too high for them to sell. But if you're actually going to bring in 2 other price tags from G2 in Patatech and Artis and try to have a org-to-org trade with a dollar amount tied to it, it could be way more intriguing. Yeah.
It has to be. Yeah. There's no way this is a straight trade, especially because it looks like it's actually G2 that are initiating this. So,
correct.
You sweeten the deal and you make the swap of those players.
Carlos about to drop the bag, yo.
yeah. Listen, I think it's I wonder what it is like. That G2 team seems so full of like big personalities.
Like I like big Pat. Like Patatech is fucking awesome. That's the shit that scares me because it's like Who are G2 going to pick up now? Now, the question is, are they sold on those rumors of those two players being picked up? Or who is the best available option
Fuck,
for
I mean, there are
G2?
tons. There are
Olaf
actually
Meister.
tons.
Boostmeister.
Olaf,
Yeah,
let's
I
go.
think they were linked. There was also talk about them looking for Coldamenta as well.
Yes.
To
Correct.
replace artists. So like these
Okay.
like fucking nutty Ascend players as well, who also have the fact that they're not in Masters is that's a different story. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that team obviously looking really, really strong sort of most recently.
Yeah.
And guys like Bone Cold as well in that team, who's like very, very good.
Bone Code and
with
friends.
a lot of with a lot of those sort of utility based agents and stuff like that. So I mean, there is like a fuckload of talent in Europe. It's actually insane.
By the
I
way,
think there are a lot of
shout out
teams-
to Europe for finally being fucking super entertaining now. Mitch, Vance, remember when no one wanted to fucking watch Europe because it was just G2 versus Squiggly
Well,
Wiggly squad?
It didn't help that NIP were playing Zero Duelist comps and stuff, and like we had there was a time where like there weren't a ton of EU orgs involved, but there's like fuckloads now, and even like even like X Defuse, whatever they're called, opportunists now. Have they changed the name again? I can't keep up. BDS. Yeah, like so. You know, like there are teams like that. It's like, okay, I don't really know the brand that well, or like Ballista or whatever. It doesn't matter if the orgs aren't there because the quality of player is way gone up. And yeah, I think Coldamenta, like especially, would be a great calling option for that team because it seems like that they don't want to do it. Like I feel like G2 had never really been overly excited about that structured kind of play. That was kind of evidenced in their very sort of take duels.
Well, that's got to change now. I think that's why it's imploding.
Chaosify the game a little bit. So that would be a mix up for them. But you have very coachable people, I think, left on that roster. I don't think it's a stretch to say the artist is a little bit of a destabilizing factor, at least based on how he positions himself publicly, right?
Yeah. Even that rumor for G2 was that they're going to try to go for Alex too, right? From CS:GO. So if this happens, G2
is he on Excel?
Or
is that XMS? That's
XMS.
Enough, to be
yeah.
honest.
XMS was like with Excel or trying out for Alliance or some shit. I think at some point he was playing. But I think right now is like if they actually are able to bring in an IGL like Alex at this point for G2, it really comes down to maybe they didn't like the style of playing a little bit too loosey goosey. They have to change that structure, and to be able to change that structure, maybe they need that type of authority. And if they maybe. And I'm all speculating here. If maybe they weren't able to get that authority of how vocal a player like Artist could be, then now you have to start bringing in players that really want to win and that could work under a certain system that's going to be a little bit more, cutthroat. And I think maybe then you could see some results into G2.
Yeah, okay, we'll see. Because I think G2 have who's their coach? Neil Zeno? Is that their coach?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So. I'd be interested to see. Like, I think he's a British guy. That also might be the connection with Alex there, because Alex is listed as French, but he's for all intents and purposes he's British.
Yeah, true.
Because he's lived there. He's lived in the UK for ages. So, all right, let's talk about another one. This is a big move, man. We heard recently that JC Stani has left Immortals. Holy shit! So there was discussions about re-signing, but he wants to test free agency. So definitely the impression that JC Stani maybe wants to look at some other options, right? That's kind of wild, to be fair. The guy kind of does everything. Interesting that he points out here, by the way, that he is flexible and is willing to pay Sentinel, because he made it very clear that he didn't want to fucking play Cypher, and he only did because he kind of had to. But I mean, this Immortals team, it gets kind of thrown up in the air, right? Nature left, we already covered that. Rossi came in, looked really good on the Astro, looked really, 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 really good. We're talking about a team that has to go up against Sentinels in the lower bracket. So it wasn't like a one-sided series. But JC Stani ends up departing this roster. Why? I think he's one of the most promising free agents in North America.
Oh yeah, that's very smart. And then you take a look at his poll already. I mean, Duelist, Cypher, Omen, Sage. The thing is, you take a look at a lot of the NA teams right now that are lacking variety, especially when it comes to agent comps now, and things are opening up. Look at what Version1 did in order to make it to Iceland. They changed things up drastically. But JC Stani, I don't think he's in a bad spot for the simple fact that Immortals are good. They're a great team. So he still is able to name his price anywhere he goes. He's a free man, and anybody that wants to be a free man gets respect from me.
Yeah.
So the question is, wait. But there has to be a reason why he's doing this, other than the obvious from what we read. There has.
He wants to see if he can trade up. He just
Yeah,
wants
of
to see if
course.
he can do better, I think.
Yeah.
But,
Like,
but
he
where else
doesn't-
can he go though? And
Well,
fit
there's
in?
many options. I think between Masters 2 and Masters 3, there's gonna be some roster changes going on
Well,
right now.
obviously, yeah, but
Yeah. So I think now the timing is perfect. That if he doesn't have to sign with Immortals now and locks himself up for another, let's say, 6 months to a year, then he has options to maybe upgrade to who, to where, not sure.
I think.
But if he doesn't, he could still sign to somewhere that's still going to be pretty even in terms of where he was with Immortals too. So it's not a bad move in my opinion.
So
I think Immortals
if-
are going to be fine as well, because you throw chemicals on Jet again, and it's like, it's back to business.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, like I said, like Rossi's great, and Gangster's like one of the best support players I think in NA. But
Yeah.
okay, so this is deep. This is digging a little
think he
bit
should've
deep. But
stayed.
I think if Marv actually gets Omega cucked because he is implicated in some match fixing
Yeah.
scandals, then JC Stani is a
Yo.
sick addition to that FaZe clan team
Yeah, no, I agree.
to come in and sort of play like the Omen and stuff.
Yes.
That's
agree.
like, if I think of like the top 10 teams in NA, that seems like one of the most likely destinations for him. I don't think there's like Gen G are probably happy with Gimon, I think, or whoever's playing smokes for them right now. Som is on NRG, so that's probably not where he goes. T1 is
G has an opening
T1,
still, though,
you
right?
know. Is that sorry?
Gen G has an opening still.
No, it's Mikhail, Sean, Gimon. Oh, I guess
Quinn is
Quinn got
gone.
Yeah,
moved
with
to
Quinn
sub
gone,
on
yeah.
that team, right?
But then
That's a great team.
but GMD's a smoker. Unless JC Stani goes as Jet too, because at some point he was playing Jet.
JC
Yeah.
Stani is a nice
Of,
Jet. That's what
yeah.
I'm saying.
So
He actually has played a fuck ton of Jet recently.
Yes.
I think of it,
so
yeah.
that could definitely be possible too. I think that would be a great addition, and especially he's a player that could flex a lot of agents. Then for Gen G, it might make sense. But even if you look back, right?
you want on
GMD
Jet, though?
JC?
Sorry.
Sorry.
I was just wondering, is that who you want on Jet? If you're looking to upgrade on a team like Gen G, do you like? I always thought he was best on Omen personally. I just thought he just had he was just really sick game sense player.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, if he's willing to IGL as well, and GMD just wants to frag a little bit more, that's also still possibilities. But I don't know. There's a lot that you could do.
You don't take GMD off of the roles that he's currently on. I think he's great.
I mean, he could stay as a smoke, but doesn't have to IGL.
Yeah.
What about
think too.
Well,
agree.
Gimon might play duelist.
Yeah. Gimo might go back to Duelist. Yeah, he was doing it before as Phoenix when they were first playing, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then also, Kusta. He doesn't necessarily always have to play a Sentinel all the
Kusa
time
can
anymore,
move.
right?
He's
So
a
that-
fucking
that-
awesome
yeah.
rifler.
But like just to look back at Immortals too, when you're looking at JC Stani, or no, just Immortals in general, because we always talked about how, oh yeah, LG Immortals 2021, things are looking pretty good for them right now. They're
They
a
will.
powerhouse team. They can upset a lot. I mean, look at the most recently the matches that they've won versus the matches that they've lost. So coming out of Stage 1 Challengers 2 to Masters, they lost 4 games in a row to Envy, Sentinels, 100 Thieves, and LG. Then they beat Illusion Black in open bracket, SLU Esports. They beat Rise. They beat TSM. They lose to Cloud9. They beat Nbox. They lose to XSET. They beat TSM. They lose to Energy. They lose to Sentinels. So they're not that much like they're not right at that point where we praise them to be right now. But I think we're still hanging on to like the past end of like 2020, early 2021 of like, oh, they look pretty good. They could still have a potential to dark horse and to upset, but then the results are not really showing, most recently at least. And I think now it's a good time for these players to, like, you know, the ones that have been sticking for a long time, like JC Stein and like Gangstead, really want to win. Maybe it's a good option for them to try to look elsewhere.
I think that Immortals and Luminosity, respectively, both benefited greatly from the Stinger meta as well, because they wanted to play a style of gameplay that played ahead of a lot of utility, and just like forced a bunch of early action. And I think that isn't the only reason why they were good. I think a lot of teams struggled because Immortals, especially, were just reading teams really well. And like you would see, like but you know, like guys like Thief was just like an absolute firecracker on whatever site you sent him to. He'd play like the weak side of the map and just go and get like 2 kills and just throw things in the air. So
it's the envy effect. It's the envy effect. Didn't they tear it up in that one seating bracket, and then we all like crowned him after that?
Yeah, because
That was it.
I mean, they
Because
still
it beat
did.
Sentinels. No?
Yeah, they beat Sentinels. They still did pretty well. It was the first time they beat Sentinels. I was like, okay, holy shit, they're looking. But there's also, I'm pretty sure wasn't that after the
was
Texas
seeding.
shenanigans? Wasn't that right after like because Sentinels had like F all practice time as a result of like the
Yeah, stage 1 challengers won.
Oh,
So it's
yeah,
right after
right.
first strike.
Oh, okay, no, so
was
it wasn't.
right
It was
afterwards, yeah.
before that happened. I don't know. Either way, Envy pissed me off. We can talk about them in a little bit because I think we really hoped for much more from them in general. I mean, Van Silly did. He fucking thought they were gonna make it to Iceland.
Dude,
Didn't happen though, did it?
Still
Didn't
hoping,
happen.
still hoping. They're gonna have their moment, man.
Let's go back to Europe. Let's go back
Yeah.
over the pond again and talk
Yeah,
about Team
next
Liquid
lifetime.
because they have parted ways with Eccles.
Yeah.
He is let the roster. Obviously, he's been inactive on this team for quite a while now, and Liquid have already made some big changes. So I think if you're in Eccles' position, you probably wrote out the end of your contract because, I mean, when you were benched, you probably have the chance to look for other opportunities, but it probably would have made sense to sort of stream, grind, and sort of try and feel out other opportunities here. So, I think those that have been Valorant fans, maybe only sort of recently, maybe don't remember a ton about Eccles, but he did play on like a mixed team, I think, with Chak in challenges too. So that was called Bench Warmers, and he was playing a lot of Astra, and he's playing a fair bit of Breach as well. So it looks like he will still be sort of controller initiator style player. Unfortunately, the Fish 1-2-3 dream kind of died as Liquid came in and made some sort of big changes to the roster. And now look at their success. You can't really fault them for it. So,
True.
I think they were trying to experiment a bunch with Viper at the time. I remember when Eccles was sort of dropped. And I think it was a Cutler issue. Same sort of thing. Like when it came to just holding your own, he was probably looks like he was turning out to be more of a liability. And I don't think the IGL excuse really held water for him for long enough.
Mm-hmm.
People tried it. People still tried in NA. But they're gonna learn. At the end of the day, it's a shooting game. In order to win, you gotta shoot motherfuckers. But Eccles, I wish
true. It's undeniably true. Yeah.
I wish him the best. I think that he would make a good IGL. I think he would make an amazing coach. I still hope that he competes at a high level. And I'm willing to see where this is gonna go. I wonder how his Astra plays. I'm looking at the stats right now, Uber. He looks like he's doing really fucking good as Astra as well. It looks like he found his bread and butter. So, hopefully this just, catapults him back to the top.
Yeah, I mean, if he's playing as Astra and he's still willing to IGL, it also depends when he was calling and playing with benchwarmers. What were the results in there? How is he able to still call in like a pug setting to still do well for the team, right? So I think he has a great mind to the game. What I also really do love is the fact that it's still very mutual, right? He has a lot of respect for Team Liquid and vice versa. And I think like any org or any team would vouch for this guy too. So I think he's still fairly young. He's still got a lot of room in order to grow. And then he just needs to find the right set of players that could go under his wing, I think, at this point. But who?
I think that,
again, I don't know.
for example, I don't see him in a top 10 team in Europe for a while. I don't think. There are definitely a few rosters that sit outside that sort of echelon. For example, like, I wonder about Team Alliance and sort of how they're tracking right now, because obviously I think they lost. Oh god, I mean they recently lost Team Entropic, which is like the it's like Taimu and Hips team and Law, right?
Yeah.
So they are not exactly sort of finding the results that they're looking for. And I'd be looking at someone like Eccles as well to come in and sort of mix things up a little bit. But outside of that, like that top 10 teams are locked down, right? Like Liquid, Fnatic, FPX, Ascend, Gambit, BDS, Heretics, and G2. Yeah. So maybe there's a look in on G2, but I don't know if we'll see him explode onto the scene for a little while, guys. I would say if you're an Eccles fan, as I'm sure many of you are, temper your expectations because it might be a little bit before he sort of. It's not a great time, I think, in Europe to sort of just find yourself in a top 10 team. We'll see what happens after Reykjavik.
For sure. I think it's gonna be super fun. I hope for the best for Eccles, man, for sure. I think he has a great mindset, and he again the whole team Liquid too. When it was Fish 1-2-3, always very positive vibes as well.
Yeah.
I think I don't think there's anybody that would talk shit about any of these players. And I think it would be a great in terms of team chemistry and to build up that positivism.
Yep.
Tell me, what the fuck is going on with Sentinels? Why am I seeing all this cryptic shit from
What the
them?
fuck does it mean, dude?
So Dapr obviously, all right, unlucky, yeah, feeling a little bit anxious. Also, yeah, Hunter, I was sick. Sorry, sort of.
I mean, you can
He
call him Hunter.
streams-
You're good friends with him, no?
Nah, yeah, well, I don't know the guy from a bowl of goldfish, to be honest with you. But yeah, so he also tweets that he's stressed out. I mean, and then I assume Kez is involved in their managerial capacity here. So something is afoot here. I just think it's weird to tweet this shit, especially if it's like related to legality or immigration, as it may be. I mean, that's fine. I mean, yeah, I could be. It's
Yeah.
also Zoomers just like to really treat like Twitter as their fucking diary sometimes. So
It's
that's
bait.
also fine. But can we let us now speculate as I want to do on this particular show?
Yeah.
Because in fairness, getting visas and stuff isn't easy, especially right now. I also happen to know that Dapr tweeted saying he thought he had COVID. Oh, by the way, yeah, a couple of days before that, he said he could have gone down and got a free shot, but he couldn't be asked. So that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so he I don't know if he actually did have COVID, but I remember him tweeting saying he's really sick and he couldn't taste anything. So obviously
COVID.
Shazam has had a really difficult home life.
Yes.
You know, over the last sort of few months. And then yeah, like Six saying that they're stressing. So something is going on, but they can't. I'll show you the song. Anyway, this is what Six said about it, or what he didn't say about it. Anyway, maybe you can glean more from what he doesn't say than from what he does say, but I'll let you make your conclusions. Have a look at this.
Hey, Sick from Shaz, is there anything that particularly hinders Sin before Iceland? I'm really worried. Thanks for the $1. I mean, I can't really talk about it, but I should say there's some stressful things happening, and I'm sure there will be an update soon.
There's a lot going on with Sentinels when you think about the big picture.
Yeah, I tried to DM Shaz for comment, but I couldn't get an answer back, so I don't know exactly what it could be. So I was speculating on my end is like, okay, well, is it an issue because TENS is in Canada? What's the like
Legal
flight to Iceland right now from
issues.
Canada? What's the quarantine like? There's flights. I saw that there's flights going out there too.
Yeah.
I know that in the States, everybody could get their COVID shots right now, pretty much. But I know that in Canada,
Yes.
they're going by group ages, and it's only like last Friday where the 35 and over were able to get their appointment for the shots, which is why I have mine today, which also divulges that I'm old as fuck.
Boomer.
But then
Boomer.
for TENS, who's 18, 19 years old, in BC, I don't think they could get their first shot till June 1st, which is 2 days after Iceland. But MSI LOL is currently happening right now, and there's Canadian players playing that in Iceland too. And it's only 6 days of quarantine. So right now, like all the logistics seem to still make sense. So I'm
Okay.
not sure exactly what it could be.
I'll say this. Doesn't matter where the fuck you're from. If you are in the United States, you can turn up and get shot.
Yeah.
Like they don't even check your fucking ID,
Get
bro.
your fucking shots, please.
Yeah. I mean, literally, so I've had both my shots now. The second one's a doozy. And like I assume that maybe TENS is in Canada. Fucking, I don't know. Smuggle him over the border and get him to get in a shot. Like it is really. I heard a story actually. There was a US town on the border, and there were literally people from Canada that crossed the border to get the shot, like lined up and crossed the border into the United States
Probably
to
like
get
Vermont?
a fucking. Yeah, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, Vermont. Of
We're
course,
literally like in America, we literally I see tweets all the time where it's like, hey, we have 2,000 vaccines to give away today, and there's no line. Just come
Yeah.
up and get it.
That's because people aren't scheduling their second ones as well. The problem is that there was supposed to be this whole structure about when we get vaccines, and then people just weren't
But
signing up.
That's not
peop-
the problem, no.
Yeah, there aren't enough people. There aren't enough people signing up. Like they get a number of vaccines that's based on an estimate of how many people will need to get them.
I'm
and
saying
then
the
people
problem
don't turn up.
with Sentinels, though, I
Oh,
doubt
well,
it has to do with a vaccine. This is
Yeah.
so. What can it be? Could it be a roster thing? Like, you know, they do have legal things happening with someone that's currently benched as well. We don't know if everyone is able to fly out of the country. We don't know about their personal status. Like, what is the real issue?
Yeah, I think look, TENS is in Canada still, right?
Yeah.
So that could be an issue for him getting his shot.
No,
So,
we just had Canadians go to Paris the other day, and MSI there just gotta be people from Canada going. Or,
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. There
it
is a
could be
Canadian
big.
player currently playing there right now. I think it's Vulcan for Cloud9. He's a Canadian player that is currently playing in LoL MSI. So that's
but
why I'm saying it might not be an issue, but at the same time, it could be very subjective too as well. Like one day, one agent is going to say yes, and then a different agent is going to say no in terms of like, and you don't have to acquire visas actually to go to Iceland. I've looked into that as well. So like Canada passports, USA passports, you could go to Iceland without an entry visa, and it could still last 90 days. So that's not an issue. I'm not too sure. I'm not too
buyout
sure.
tins, the whole
all I'm saying is that
situation.
Dapr literally tweeted that he thought he had COVID, sort of a while back. So, you know, like that's
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, that's not ideal. Anyway, so it could be a bunch of things. Also, I think like someone like Vulcan probably lives in the US again, so it's not an issue for him to get. It's if you live in Canada.
True.
If you live in Canada, was what that we're saying. That could be the issue right now if you're trying to travel. But I think what V1 are they all American? Maybe they are.
FEs is in Canada.
You don't need a visa if you're from the US or Canada.
Well, I mean, you don't need one. It's not just, okay. Listen, Americans and Canadians, it's not just you guys. The European Union is pretty chill like that. Like you can get into the fucking European Union for a time without needing a visa. You're not special because you're American. Trust me. If anything, there would be more restrictions on you motherfuckers getting into Europe because y'all know what you like.
100%.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
There is issues trying to get to countries in Europe from Canada and the States.
Let's crack on. We spent 40 minutes on the first block of the show, guys.
That's true.
Shit.
Oh man,
So
you guys
let's talk
missed us. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, fucking here we go. A lot of speculation,
Yes.
but that's kind of what we do best. We've got so much to cover today, and it's gonna be a long one. All right, so first of all, we had our sort of Ask Valorant sort of segment where we heard or we saw sort of people talking about smurfing, and we got an answer back from the dev sort of saying that okay, this is real. But maybe this problem isn't quite as big as people think it is. And there's a conflation between people that are smurfing and people that are just having a good game. But what they're talking about, that basically this says, we don't have a solution right now because, I mean, it's complicated. But they're trying to find out how to identify them. They're trying to find out, I think they're probably, I'll be honest with you, Riot are going to look more towards trying to combat smurfing by removing the need for it than they are to try and identify a kind of smurfing because it's so fucking hard to tell the difference. So they go for the root cause instead of trying to treat the symptoms. So like, why do players smurf? There's a bunch of different reasons, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but I think this is a bit too charitable saying that most smurfs are just trying to play with friends. No, some smurfs just want to feel powerful.
Yep.
They just want to.
Yeah,
feel
I mean, and that's it. That's the yin and the yang, I guess, at some point. Some good, some bad. I think when you're looking at the good, it's true that some players do want to play with their friends, and unfortunately, the rank doesn't help out as much. And for them, it doesn't matter if they're not really trying to boost those players. They just want to have fun and play. And win or lose, it's just like whatever in terms of that ult account. But in the bad, yeah, definitely. Some people just want to feel powerful, or at the same time, they also want to purposely de-rank. So they're going to throw some games so they could be like, oh, it's just my Smurf account. I'm going to throw some games so I could actually lower that.
I've run into a few de-rankers recently.
Exactly, so that they can play with their friends as well. So that is a big issue. And yes, I do agree with you, Uber. I think it comes down to if Riot is able to figure out a way that could promote 5Qs and still make it fun for the 5Qs and for everybody else that they're playing against, that's a better solution. Because why are people smurfing right now and playing with friends at lower ranks when they could play unrated, right? And now the I guess the justification could be, well, it's unrated. Literally that. You won't have a rank attached to it. You won't grind more into the battle pass because of that too. And there's all these factors going into it. So I think if there's a way to really allow this 5Q to happen, make it fair, but also get some sort of I guess reward attached to it, I think everybody wants that. Everybody just wants fucking rewards in some way, shape, or form of any game that they play or any mode.
Did we ever have a MMR reset once they tried to fix the smurfing the first time around, or did we just continue on from day one?
No, they had MMR reset, and even at the end of every or at the beginning of every
rank
act
season.
Yeah, and at the beginning of every act, your MMR I think goes
Well,
down by
it's a
9%.
soft reset, though.
Your rank resets.
Your rank resets, yes.
drops down,
Yeah.
but your MMR actually doesn't change.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which
That's
is
the
why we were getting the
thing.
problems in the first place with people like, why am I going against like these sick players? I'm Diamond, they're like Radiant, you know, and it's because of that.
They
That's
did a
terrible.
hard reset when it was a 2Q for Diamond 3 and above.
Give
right?
it a
As
hard
soon as-
reset. The game is populated enough now to start over and get things right. Because right now, no matter where you see it, from the pros down to Wood 5 or I am, you have shitters everywhere, and some has to be done. And just implementing, a new rule without actually saying, all right, let's all start from point A again and let's see where you are now. The people that were in those higher ranks that don't fucking belong there, that you see in the Wardell and Sub Rosa videos, that Omen, he's not going to be up there anymore because he's going to have to work his way back up unless he has the same stack.
I think
that is the smartest thing to do right now.
I think leave it the way it is, man. I think right now is they just need game modes or tournament modes that allows friends to play together and get some sort of reward. Like
Let's
let's say
still gonna play in our ranked games though.
yeah.
So I think Valorant also has a unique challenge, by the way, in that identifying Smurfs is a little bit extra difficult because there is such a skill similarity between that and Counter-Strike. So you could never play Valorant and be like sick at CS, walk into a Valorant game and look like you're smurfing.
Let's
You're
just do
actually
like
not.
China. Let's give our driver's license and then make sure they have our information in the account.
It's not just China that does
do
this.
it.
I mean, in South Korea, your social security number is linked to your Riot account, I think.
Yeah.
So they are. I mean, that also answers. The problem is this is not. It's not legal in the United States. Like
Yeah,
legislation does not allow for that kind of thing. Obviously, it does provide extra accountability. I mean, Riot would much rather do that, I think, than have to fucking record people's voice chat. Yeah, flex queue, Clash, things like that in League of Legends happens fair bit. Flex queue is. I think flex queue would be pretty volatile because of the skill disparity on teams would just make the. I mean, you could definitely do it though. Yeah, it'll be very, very hard to. I just think that the skill. I see it in League of Legends as well. Like the games are just wild. Like from one game to another, the experience is so different because each team structure is. They try and average out your rank. It's very, very hard to do. So yeah, that's doable though. Again, I think that like it's not lazy to say this might be an impossible thing to solve because it's a free to play game. You know what I mean? And even if it's not, like I think 40% of players in Overwatch right now are fucking because here you go. That recently we found out that like the player base had dropped, but the revenue had increased for Overwatch. So it was like people were buying there were multiple people with multiple accounts. They just buy other accounts. Like these same fucking sweat lords who wanted to smurf were funding the game.
That's
so
why I can't get out of plat.
Yeah, no, that's not it. You're a little bit inflexible. Trust me. Listen, there's someone who also can't get out of plat right now. I can tell you why. Anyway, okay, so we had patch notes drop today as well.
Yeah.
Or recently rather. A pretty pertinent change in there, I think, because obviously Viper has been, oh my god, unbelievably strong. So at least now, walking through her smoke doesn't feel like walking into a fucking meat grinder. Or crossing the wall, right? So now you're taking 30 damage instead of 50. That's still significant, but not nearly as devastating as it used to be. Like people just didn't fucking bother walking through the wall half the time.
Yeah, exactly. Except if you're Brazil, because again, we'll get to that later. But they don't mind fucking crossing through anything. But I do see that because I think, if I'm not mistaken, whenever we had the buff with the Viper's toxic screen, they not only do you get 50 decay right away, but the cloud is a little bit thicker for you to walk across, so it still blocks your vision while you're crossing too. So you still have like a less of a peeker's advantage versus your opponents who are holding on the other side of the wall. So I think also to put it to 30 instead of 50 allows that confidence to maybe like, okay, we could maybe try to flash through this wall right now, and having only 70 HP instead of 50 could maybe be doable. I like that, and I don't think it deters too much to what Viper was meant to do with these buffs, right? When you're looking at the pulse plant scenarios, I think the pulse plant scenarios are still going to be very difficult. But I mean, we have to theory craft it. But I think putting a poison cloud and putting a snake bite, there's probably still an opportunity now as a player to still get it at least a halfway and get out of it safely, and only suffer the damage of the snake bite after once the decay disappears. So I think that's still pretty cool, and that might actually nerf a bit of that whole, impossible to go for the diffuse on these pulse plant situations.
I hated the fact that Viper was the most effective agent in the entire game on her own. And the reason why I say that is, what other agent do you know that could just burn 30 seconds, whatever amount of time in a game? I mean, you go to Icebox and any other map and you just see green shit all over your mini map. Teams weren't moving. And now that the damage has been decreased from 50 to 30, let's give them a choice, Hey, we don't have to wait out, until the toxic screen wears out. We have to make a decision because we know it's not going to kill us and it's not going to be an instant death if we walk through it and try to fight. We still have a fighting chance. So I really like this a lot. So yeah, hopefully she's not as OP still. And we don't see green clouds everywhere. Because I did not like it. Was a visual fucking mess.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad, but I mean, I don't know. I've been through the Valley of Shadow of Death playing fucking Overwatch, man. Like there's nothing but particle effects in that game.
I've witnessed it.
Yeah, I mean, it's etched onto my fucking eyelids now. Every time I shut my eyes, it's just like a bunch of fucking auras and shit going around. So let's be clear, guys. It definitely feels like Viper was overtuned when she was released. Like, why did she have to come out so strong? Like, can't you just tune her moderately and then start to see people adopt her, maybe slowly, maybe slightly more reluctantly, and making her game warpingly powerful? Like the way she came out the gates seems like it was pretty excessive.
And what time did that come out around, Uber? It was the most important time in recent history for Valorant as well. Playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel that it's
rough.
It's a Riot thing to do. Whenever a new agent comes out, for example, in League of Legends, they're always like super fucking powerful as well. And then it's like, okay, this is too much. This is too much. This is too much. And then you realize it from like, I don't know, from the unranked level to the ranked level to the pro level, you have the feedback. And like, okay, now we could actually tweak it down. So I feel like it's maybe easier to tweak it down than to tweak up, in my opinion, for switching agents or adding agents.
I think that my counterpoint to this, Fancilly, is I think that heroes and agents are introduced to a game in an overpowered capacity for marketing purposes, to drive people to play and obtain that particular character. In League of Legends, they come out fucking overpowered because it makes people buy them. Like I feel a little bit less charitable because I think I would much rather you bring in a hero underpowered so it doesn't fuck the game up straight away and slowly bring them up in line with everything else, instead of bring something super powerful in the game. Everyone buys it, but it fucks with your I think it fucks with your competitive integrity to a degree as well. You could just say just adapt. It's true, like players should just adapt, but like there's no need for that. I think Yoru was intended to be very fun, very powerful. He just didn't turn out that way because Yoru's power doesn't come from his numbers, but how you use him and how he's perceived by your opponents, right? Like your opponents have to make some misconceptions for you to be effective. A character design that relies essentially on your opponent making a mistake is probably not going to be necessarily powerful, especially at the higher level, right? Quickly though, there was another Ask Valorant discussion, because obviously people have been asking for replays, right? That's also the thing in Rainbow Six right now. I think they're trying to get replays sorted out. We've had that in Overwatch for a bit, but it took ages to get them, ages and ages. So yeah, people are trying to get a Valorant replay system happening. Obviously, GoTV was really ahead of its time. But let me make this very clear. These are very difficult to implement. Most games don't come out with replays intact or part of it out of the box. I think maybe Fortnite did, but
not everybody's Halo 3.
Yes, but I think if you want to boast being esports ready, having like a replay sort of aspect to the game is really, really important. You need them for competitive titles, because you need to be able to review.
Exactly. And content creation. I tweeted about that.
Oh, yo.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, come on.
My focus is personally a bit more onto how it affects the esports side of thing, but absolutely, it's very good for your game, because then you literally get people who for free create marketing and promotional material around your title and monetize it on their channels.
I'm thinking about integrity of the game too. It's replays would be amazing for coaches, right? Not only content creation, but for coaches.
We have replays, chat. We have replays. We've had it for a while now in Overwatch. People imagine you can't shit on Overwatch constantly and then not know what is in the game now, bro.
Right.
You can't do that. Just
Why are you
fucking
being mean to
educate,
Dan, man?
educate
He's our
yourselves.
fucking producer, dude.
What are you talking about? It does. You literally have replays of all the games you've played. You literally go to your profile. Oh, come on, we got observers in here now.
Yes.
Yeah, in Overwatch. In Overwatch, go to your fucking match history and you can see your replays and you can share the code of a replay so anyone can watch it.
He's a caster. I don't think you should argue with him at all.
You guys aren't allowed to shit on the game if you haven't fucking touched it. Like you have no idea what's going on in the game.
I'm
You're just
allowed to
fucking-
shit on the game.
You're just salty ex-wives at this point. Come on, man, bruh. Come on, bruh.
I'm not shitting on
Alright,
the game. I
let's-
actually like the game. Just very spammy.
So let's keep cracking on. New game mode, by the way.
PogChamp?
Poggers.
Replication. Replication is the new game mode. All right, the X-Wives are going to go out in the chat here. Let's talk about this because it's another, I would say, a little less serious, buttoned up game mode. 80-second rounds. Yeah, so there's a pistol round and then there's subsequent rounds. It's a 45-second pistol round, so it seems like a faster jump in, jump out game. But hold on, everyone plays the same agent? Okay.
Yeah.
They have to?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know what?
shit.
I love this. Valorant nailed this. See, in Overwatch, this was the competitive mode. But I fucking realized how bad it was for the game. This is great. You know, at least now, like, give it like a one agent only. So the game's not completely broken, and then let people experience what it's like to have this complete and utter chaos by having different agents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So regardless of win or loss, you get the set amount of credits. So unlike Spike Rush, you don't just get given a fucking frenzy or what. Like you. Now I like this because I like that you can sort of choose how to spend your money in this, as opposed to just being given a weapon that both teams have in Spike Rush, right? Also, they've made it so you can't get flash constantly, which is great because you know that people are going to grief.
I'm actually gonna go on a tangent on this one and say that
Oh boy.
Flash Guard, this new ability that doesn't allow you to get blinded for twice in a row for 5 seconds, is gonna be an agent ability for our next one coming out. So there's gonna be a Flash Guard and a Molly Guard, where you can maybe activate and get onto a Molly and defuse a spike at least halfway before you start getting damage. So that meta game of the pulse plan is gonna be a little bit harder to play. I think that's a cool idea, actually. I feel that this 2 weeks is to test out Flash Guard more than testing out the FPS that you're gonna get when you're gonna encounter 12 smokes from Brimstone or fucking 10 orbital strikes in round 6.
I don't. Why is this necessary?
To test out Flash Guard.
No. I mean, sorry. I mean, like the game type. Like thinking from.
It's for fun.
from, like-
Uber, not everybody's esports pro, man. Sometimes you just got, the 14-year-old Fortnite kid that just wants to run around with everybody with fucking knives and
No. They shouldn't be allowed to play the game. No. Go play
The
Roblox.
mom
you
that
fuck.
still looks at the buttons when she presses them. Like, come on, man. It's just for fun.
Right. I mean, it is probably reasonable for Riot to try and break down the stigma of tax shooters as being really like gate kept and really like high skill and knowledge floor. It also gets casuals into the game to buy your skins, I guess. But
And it's only 2 weeks, man. It's not bad. It ends May 25th,
It's
dude.
not.
So why would they only do it for a short time then? Like
To test out Flash Guard.
So Uber, this is the thing. So Rainbow Six, what we do, we have events, and our events last like a week or 2 weeks
right.
before major events to get traction. This could just be a test, or
Flash
it
Guard.
might be a first of many series of just mini events that we're
games.
gonna have in
Yeah.
Valorant, mini games like
Yeah.
Golden Gun, puppet mode, whatever it might fucking be, Halloween, like the snowball game that we had.
Yeah. Okay. That happens on Overwatch
Those type
too. I
of
just don't
events.
play any of those, I guess.
I
But,
don't
like,
either,
you
don't have time to
but
play
they're still
anything, Uber.
heavily populated. They're heavily populated.
Yeah, I think the
still.
reason why Overwatch still works as a game and people still play it is because the casuals get catered to. I think if it was like just for like competitive people, it'll be
Yeah.
dead as fuck. It's actually not
Mhm.
dead like people might say it is, but I think the casuals definitely keep it alive. It's just, yeah, I guess whatever. It's not for me, right? But it's cool.
Did you just play some campaign
play
mode
an
on fucking
esport game
Overwatch
with
the other
fun
day
on
when
the
you were
side.
streaming?
Yeah, because the fuckers gated the skins behind playing those. Instead of me just playing rank games like normal to unlock the skins, they made me play these fucking dumbass. These PvE missions that have been in the game for years. They just brought them back and made you play them again. Normally, like, you can get these skins from getting 9 wins, no matter what fucking mode. So I can go in there because all I do is play comp. I could just get it. No,
Yeah.
they brought these fucking skins out. It's like, no, get a certain amount of stars in this mission that we've had in the game for 4 years, and you played the first time already, and you got bored of it. And it's like, oh, fuck's sake. They have at least they made some cool changes there, because kind of like Mythic Dungeons in WoW, how there's like affixes that get you more points for finishing it, but complicate it. Like you can now, like they'll add those in. So listen, it's getting better. I think that's like they're testing out some stuff for Overwatch 2, which is going to be like PvE focused or whatever. But anyway, this is fine. Look, I think this replication game mode is fine. I just don't really understand the purpose of it, but I think it's not for me. You know what I mean? I reckon games like Valorant, they make a killing, I think, on microtransactions because their skins are so expensive. But I can imagine them really wanting to like pave the way for a really, a title with longevity by getting casual people involved. So I get it. It's cool. Look, we've already talked about this, right? The art style, the mechanics, the world is compelling already. Like it is interesting. It is a vibrant, fun game that you want to learn more about. And I think that just playing a game, like who the fuck knows who the agents are in CSGO? I don't know. Fucking this guy has I don't know what they're called. The people in Middle Eastern countries wearing their hair. Like this guy's wearing a bandana. Like who gives a fuck? No one cares, right? So I kind of like the idea that you make a world something a bit more interactable, which is Riot Games are, I would say, one of the best game developers when it comes to building worlds, building lore, getting people excited about that. Blizzard do very well in a sense. Like we had those animated shorts as well, but Riot do that as well, and I fucking love it. Dude, I spent an hour on their Atlas of Runeterra. It's on their website. You just like look at all the places. There's a map and there's like a blurb about all the places, and I love that shit. So credit to them. They really know what they're doing. I digress. The one part about Valorant's world building that we've enjoyed lately, of course, is the addition of Breeze. Now, guys, I'll admit I haven't got a chance to play it yet. I still haven't got a chance to play it, so shame on me. But they've made some changes to it already, Vans.
It's super fun actually, and I've actually played some pickup games with the casters about 2 weeks ago. And actually, funny enough, to tangent about the smokes, we played 5 smoke agents and just tried to do that kind of stuff that we saw from Replication. So yeah, I'm down for it. Small changes at least is actually, even it was last week, there was New York community something that had like the premier tournament. So they had this Complexity in there, Basilisk was in there, and SOR Gaming were in there. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Breeze was actually played. And Complexity like 13-0'd or 13-1 some random team, but they were doing a lot of mid control by actually looking through the double doors of mid side from A. And that was actually very powerful. That didn't allow like teams to really get that much mid control unless you're putting a lot of, like a Viper wall in the middle. So I think that small change will funny enough, as it closes down angles, opens up the map a little bit more for a little bit more mid takes here for Breeze, because I feel so far mid is so important for this map, as the extremities are just so much easier to guard when you're thinking about the A entrance or the B entrance specifically. So I like the small changes, and already I think from firsthand, a lot of players, even Nitro pinged it out or tweeted it out saying, you know what, low key Breeze is actually a very good map. So I'm definitely looking forward to see what this is going to look like in Masters 3.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, I'm excited to see this get played a little bit more. It reminds me of Aztec.
What's that call out right there?
Oops.
Left pillar, right pillar.
Bahakadonkalus.
Bahakadonkalus. I'll put that in a broadcast. Bahakadonkalus. He's now on the left. Bahakadonkalus.
I mean, I think that's been a fun discussion. Obviously, yeah, I think someone said looks like Madonna because she used to wear these
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen all the memes.
Tomb Raider, that's funny.
Loving the map. Don't know what those pyramids are for, really. They could be nuclear silos or anything like that. You know what I mean? That's fine. You can just put titties in your game. Just put anime titties in the game. Fuck it. Well, let's just cut out the middleman and put actual tits in there. I'm sure you can find a place to do it. Once we get everyone to stop giggling and appreciate it, then this is freeing the nipple just in Valorant. So. I
want to just play Brimstone and just smoke the top of him.
Okay, let's crack on.
What?
I mean, Vance, do you want to explain that to Vili before we move on?
I get it.
Okay.
Let's go for it. I mean, look, it's already been an hour and 5 minutes. We've gone through 2 blocks.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, let's keep
I
going.
know. I know. And people, to think that people actually watch this show to get some insight. Anyway, let's talk about some of the other regions here because, we actually still have, I think, LATAM or Brazil or one of the regions
LATAM tomorrow.
have not decided their actual both teams going to, or their one team rather going to Reykjavik. But let's talk a little bit about Brazil. Now, if you bought it recently, I still recommend you do it because Backchat had an interview with Sacy and one of the other members of this Vikings team. But it was Sharks and Vikings that make it through. Van Silly, you've been doing a bit of homework, mate.
Yeah, I've been trying to catch up on all of the teams that are trying to qualify too, and actually looking at this one, I think this is the lower bracket matchup, right? So this is the lower finals where Sharks are playing against Furia. It was actually a really good series in the end. I think one thing that I could talk about here for Sharks overall as they qualify as that second team is their bind probably needs a little bit of work. I know that they're trying to implement a little bit more Viper into their composition on bind, where I don't think it works out too well there on their defense. They seem to just know where Sadak is playing as that Viper whenever he puts the wall up, and any opposition is able to drop it down. It's no surprise that overall in their record, they're only 50% on bind. But there's one thing that's good about them is that, again, Sadak is actually the key player for that team for Vikings. I think him and Sacy are the 2 players to look out for that team. Sacy's going to be kind of like that Hiko. That's going to be that clutch player. It's a Sova. He's also very good with his Hunter's Fury like Gangsta. And they also have LG's Luminosity Gaming's Tenacity because they're able to come back from an 8-0 deficit versus Furia to actually win that third map. And they got plowed too on the first map. And this is actually the upper finals between Vikings and Sharks, where Vikings winning this series actually got them the victory as the first team to qualify. Sorry, when I was talking about Sadak, I was talking about Sadak for Vikings to look out for. And Sharks, in my eyes, is Prazin that I would probably look out for, and Tefra as the IGL for Sharks. I got my teams mixed up there at that point. But Vikings, they actually do look very good. Brazil, in terms of Valorant overall, they're just not afraid of fighting through smokes. Crossing toxic screens, just pushing all the way through spawn on pulse plants as well, which is why I didn't see too much Astra going on, but they actually did have composition that had good pulse plants, right? So they had a Viper in the mix, they had a Sova in the mix, they had Raze in the mix, but they didn't give a fuck about playing pulse plant. It was more about just battling entry and taking control of sites. So you're pushing further to the spike plant, and it gets very chaotic, but it works in their favor. It actually works for them.
Does this work against slower styles that want to play post plant though with Viper and Astra? What do you think at this stage?
I think so.
In other regions. We see
Sorry?
in other regions. It works in other regions.
Yeah, I think it might work again because we talk a lot about the Astra meta and the Viper meta, but we don't really talk about where double duelists could still very much work. Well, like version 1, for example, right? But what I do like about Brazil, and somebody else told this in my chat yesterday too, is that I think it's because of their ping difference or because they feel that you can't control the sprays as much in Valorant. These players actually tap or 2-shot, 3-shot bursts a lot. There's a term for it as well because it's based off MW0's playstyle for game lanners. So they just 1-2 tap everything, even when they play from long range. So you don't expect any type of it gets very snappy. So it gets aggressive, snappy, and very bursty in terms of playstyle.
That's fun.
And it's actually really fun in terms of that playstyle. Because when we talk about, schmeeging and phase and being super aggressive, they're also being aggressive,
they do it best,
but shooting differently. I think it's nice.
Yeah. I think Brazil does it best aggressively out of all the regions, man. If you guys in the chat have not watched Brazil play, fucking do it. It is the most entertaining Valorant you would watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, obviously, it goes to that saying that we look forward to seeing how that style clashes with the rest of the world. So let's talk about Japan. Crazy Raccoons have done it. I think we've talked about this before, but we rehash here because we're obviously taking stock of the teams that have made it through. Yeah. So they play against Absolute Jupiter, who are sort of expected to, go all the way. There's a Yoru in this game, by the way. Yep, fucking Yoru.
Yes.
But this is obviously Munchkin, and I don't think Zephyr is the person I think it is, but Munchkin's an ex-Overwatch player here.
Yeah.
In a best of 5 here, looks like they get the win, Van Silly.
Yeah, this is a little bit less to talk about, right? Munchkin and Medusa coming from Korea and playing in this roster. They've won Masters 1, against Absolute Jupiter, if I'm not mistaken. Now they beat Absolute Jupiter again to make it into Masters 2 in Reykjavik. So you're starting to see the powerhouse of Absolute Jupiter, unfortunately, not being that powerhouse that we expect for them to be, just like Vision Strikers, for example. So they're falling behind a bit. And when I'm talking about falling behind, now I'm going to talk about both of these teams. It was not good Valorant, to be honest with you. There was lack of abilities being used. It was just like, look at all these body peaks. You're not flashing. You're not reconning. You're just like, he has a recon available for Crow. You have it right there. He doesn't shoot it towards spawn to get information. It's a 2v1 over here. He's not shooting a recon dart to look out. He's just walking out and just getting picked. So the whole series between these two teams, even though you had some matches that went into overtime in the last 2 maps of the series, it was just a ranked game, to be honest. Unfortunately, it was not fun. It was not as entertaining. Not necessarily fun, but it wasn't as entertaining, and it was underwhelming at that point.
Oh, I can't wait for Reykjavik, man.
Yeah. I hope they prove me wrong for sure. If now they listen to this and like,
right?
fuck this guy, I'm gonna fuck him up during Reykjavik and I'll show it differently. I'd love to see that for sure. But for Crazy Raccoons, honestly, after watching all of these, I think they might be at the bottom.
So let's remind people, of course, that it's not Vision Strikers being sent from Korea.
New turn.
Yeah,
to
man.
Reykjavik here. So New Turn beat them in the semis. I think it's 2-0 as well.
Yes.
Glow very
No,
quiet in that match, but then they take a Damwon on and they kind of pound them. I mean, this looks like a closer map at the very least here, but yeah, I mean, New Turn look like the new kings of South Korea in terms of Valorant. This series was pretty competitive and close. I kind of like the top 3 in Korea look really tight here, but
Yeah.
man, silly, this is pretty big news for a region and kind of ironic in much the same way as like teams like 100 Thieves and Envy missing out on Reykjavik. It's brutal out there, you know what I mean? It's really
So
about
sad, man.
it's not about winning 100 games in a row. It's about turning up on the day.
Exactly.
Damn.
It's definitely about turning up, and it was a new turn that we saw around the corner, right? That one that joke's up here all day. But yeah, honestly, they're the team that also knocked out Vision Strikers actually going into the bracket. So what I do love about this is that you have Solo and Perry that have been playing together in Counter-Strike as well back then. And Solo is probably going to be the oldest player going into Iceland after winning this and getting a 3-0 versus.
Isn't Flo older than Solo though?
Sorry,
Isn't Flo older?
Possibly. Maybe the oldest ex-Counter-Strike player. But another good thing is that Solo actually represented Korea at all the international events that they've played for, and since Counter-Strike. So like Eastro, WNV, or whatever, Solo was always in those rosters. So it's pretty cool that he gets to represent now Korea in a new game that he's pro in Valorant. But the series itself... Yes, go ahead, Veli. I'm talking.
I was gonna say, speaking of Solo, Solo and Perry reminded me so much of like Steel and Nitro on flanks. They're fucking ridiculous. Vance, finish your point though, because I have something I want to say about this matchup.
No, definitely.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. For me, it was just to talk about the match itself, I think. New Turn actually...
Let's do it.
Yeah, the interesting about, for me, for New Turn is that they're a team that if on the attacker side, they lose pistol round, but they plant, they're going to force buy the next round. If they lose pistol round and they don't plant, they don't buy. And if they play pistol and they if they play defense and they lose pistol, they don't buy. So they're really counting on the spike plant economy to actually really try to drive the seat of the attacker side. And they're a team that did pretty good in terms of, I think, ability usage right there. I think Suggest is one of those players I think to look out for sure for this roster. He's been a nuisance right now against their opponents in that series. So I think New Turn, overall, they might be lacking a little bit in terms of firepower, but overall, I think could still look pretty good.
I agree. I think that their firepower could definitely be improved. But the thing about New Turn, which really helped them beat Vision Strikers in my eyes, right? This is only my opinion, is that they were really good at baiting utility as well. Like, even when you look at Ascent, the way that they would go to A main and spread out players with Sky and Soba is great with New Turn, by the way. But they would bait out the Astra Stars. They would bait out any type of pulls. They would bait out flashes. And they made sure that what we see in NA when a round starts, Uber Advanced, what do we see? A smoke going out instantly for a fake or to block a vision for, you know, just to take away any information you have.
Like mid smokes or something like that.
Yes. New Turn, they don't do that. New Turn, they save their utility for the post plant. And that is so much more different than what we're used to seeing here in NA as well, right? Because, all right, getting in the site is one thing, but if you exhaust all of your advantages, what the fuck do you have left to fight for, especially in a retake meta, right? So it's like watching them play like that, especially on Ascent, was beautiful. But other than that, their games against Vision Strikers, it was Solo and it was Who was the Astra? It was Perry. Perry's Astra
Yeah.
is my favorite Astra, by the way. The way that he plays to pressure opponents and to play off the flank to be clutch is fucking phenomenal. New Turn is one of my their top 2 favorite in Iceland. I'm gonna be straight up. They're
Okay.
scary.
Ooh.
They're actually really good. They have a lot to improve on, but strategically, from what we've seen, they're fucking good, man. And it's not like, oh, they just beat Vision Strikers 2-0. They went on a fucking tear after that, man.
Yeah.
Do they,
Sorry, go ahead, Uber.
do they play Viper at all? I don't think they do.
think I saw.
I don't think so.
I don't think I saw it, but definitely because even if you look at New Turn's roster, when they brought Astra out for
Dude.
Perry was only for one map, anyways. They didn't have him come out for the rest, if I'm not mistaken.
They still have that classic Korean style with like the
Correct.
bridge and raise a lot.
Exactly. So that's what I was going to
Yes.
mention too, because they won 3-0, but when we look at their playstyle on Bind and on Split, they were
was
still
allowed.
holding older meta. So they still had like a breach, jet, raise, Omen, and no Sentinel actually. They were playing kind of like FaZe Clan did back then, right? When in that Schmeeg moment. So that playstyle or that agent composition was that Schmeeg playstyle, or probably FaZe got from them. But they didn't necessarily play the same way as FaZe did. They were flashing and getting information for entries, but they weren't playing as aggressively on
Nope.
defense. But that was working quite well, just playing normal. And I think maybe that's where I think New Turn, yes, they're looking good, but they might not have that much of a chance at Reykjavik because I think they're playing one meta behind.
Aggressive teams might have an upper hand against them, but when it comes to methodical thinking, that's when they're the shit. And I really like what they do. But yeah, but Vance, how do you say Reykjavik again?
Reykjavik?
Is that the right way to say it? If I've been
No
fucking
idea,
up this
man.
whole time,
I just sound fucking cool when I say it, so I just say Reykjavik every time.
Yo, you sussy. You sussy. Why would you be trying to learn the correct pronunciation of Reykjavik, I wonder?
I'm just wondering. He said it's sexy. Van Silly said it in a very exotic
Is
way.
there a chance
I want
that
it to be
Vance might have to
kosher.
say it on camera on
Me?
on
I don't
a-
know,
on
man.
an actual
Oh.
broadcast?
I'm just saying Reykjavik because we've been saying Reykjavik ever
Sussy.
since we've been talking about Masters 2, so.
True.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right, let's talk about Southeast Asia because we have a delegate from that region as well that will be competing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And they have been decided. It's going to be X10 that represent that region, featuring a player that I'm familiar with, Patapan, one of the best, probably one of the best FPS players in all of Thailand.
Exactly.
Was someone who played alongside Mickey at their World Cup team, and this was like one of the dark horses of Overwatch World Cup. So you can be sure that there's plenty of talent here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they looked very good as a team from Thailand that qualified in SCA. My Vietnamese boys didn't go far at all.
Unlucky.
Crazy guy didn't even fucking qualify
Hate to see it.
into the Southeast Asia. But X10, for me, to be honest, actually looked even better than Japan when I was watching their matchup. So when you're talking about Patapan, that's exactly the player I was going to mention too. There was a lot of rounds that were very close for this team for X10 versus their opponents. But the thing is like Patapan had some rounds as a jet where he's pulling out those knives. I don't think it's as good as like suggests in terms of like the Korean
Jesus
jet,
Christ.
but I think he was still playing very well as a jet and getting like 3Ks and 4Ks to actually save the round for the team and or catch up, take the lead, and win in the end. So X10, I think they might have some victories against Japan, but overall, there's still some work left for them. But I think for a start for stage 2, I'm pretty happy of where SEA is currently developing.
All right.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it'd be interested to see what like Southeast Asia and Japan bring because
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily if meta is going to be as important coming into the tournament. It'll probably develop its own sense of meta as it goes on. But
Yeah,
I think that, how you execute and adapt is going to be way more important. Obviously, let's again remind people of how or who rather has qualified. So LATAM hasn't been sorted yet. That's happening tomorrow, actually, by my reckoning.
Yeah,
Yes.
tomorrow 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what's cool about this is that because LATAM is such a huge region, right? So there's a lot of ping differences, especially LATAM North, LATAM South. They're actually playing their finals on LAN, and that's going to be in Mexico City.
Shit.
Yeah, so that's
That's
why there was an
crazy.
issue at first because I think it was hard to like get through the border or visas and stuff like that too, and COVID times, of course. But now it seems as though everything's Gucci. Both teams are going to Mexico City. They're going head to head on land to figure out who's going to Iceland. So that's going to be tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be fucking cool.
Yeah, that's a dope way to actually send your players to
It's a
Reykjavik, so-
real World Cyber Games at this point, Uber.
Yep,
Basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. So obviously everyone else has decided. So we talked about Raccoons, talked about X10, talked about New Term, we talked about Brazil, and obviously we'll talk about NA and EU a little bit. So there, definitely some upsets though in every region, right? I think you know, we expected to see maybe, we didn't expect to see V1 come out of NA. I don't know if we expected to see both Fnatic and Liquid. I think we sort of thought one or the other. I think FPX not making it is pretty unfucking believable.
Of course.
Vision Strikers don't make it.
Of course.
Jupiter don't make it. Yeah, here you go. The VCT disqualified party. Holy shit. J1, Jupiter, NV, G2, FPX, TSM, Immortals, 100 Thieves, Cloud9. Sheesh!
Dude, I fucking love that's a fucking banger tweet, dude. I love the presence that Vision Striker has in terms of their social media presence. Like they understand the fucking North American memes right now, and that is even better. You know who's filming that right now? It's a Sentinel. It's a Sentinel organization because they're the ones that actually made it to Masters 1, won Masters 1, and are currently making it into Masters 2. He's just watching this whole party happen.
I mean, I don't think they're dancing right now, but that's a pretty fucking good meme. All right, I'll give them credit for that. Yeah, so that's insane. I think, you know, I think we're a long way past this whole. Is Valorant random? Random teams keep winning. What's wrong with my video game?
That shit up.
Yeah. But I think, you know, we can look at it more in a positive light, right? I think the competition level's insane. Like, look at how V1 stepped up. We'll talk about it a little bit later. I do think, though, we've seen the spike or the ascension of random teams definitely come at times in polarized metas, right? We definitely saw certain teams look very strong during Stinger meta, Fuck you meta, and now with how strong Viper is, right? So I think we would be academically dishonest not to at least mention that, and we can probably mention a few of the teams that have benefited from that. But it is adaptation. You know, it's not just like a flash in the pan or teams just got lucky necessarily. They just understood. It's like trading the stock market. They understood what assets to invest in early on, and they sort of are rewarded for it. I mean, yeah, like DHBK or Kuki Koalas now, like just shooting people's faces with the buckies. Like in a different meta, do they really make it? As far as they do, maybe not. And eventually they get slapped down because there's more to, you know, making it in Valorant than just, you know, capitalizing on that meta.
This is where I probably give an even bigger shout out then to Sentinels into version 1, because, you know, Sentinels, they've gone top 2 through all of these changes, all the patch changes, new agents coming out, and now they're going to Reykjavik. And then when you're talking about teams that benefit on certain metas, we always meme the fact that version 1 was able to win because of the Bucky meta, of how Vanity was able to get everything with the Bucky. But they're another team that fucking qualified to Reykjavik when they actually do have a new meta and a new agent composition, and they adapted with the changes,
right?
With less time too. So I definitely have to give credit to version 1 and how fast they are able to adapt with all of the changes happening in the game so far.
Once they caught up to the rest of NA, they were able to. We saw that, like when they got themselves to an even playing field, we realized that they actually adapted faster than the other pro teams.
Exactly.
So obviously it took a while for them to get there, but once they were able to meet a new meta on the same level as like an Envy or like an XZ, we just saw, hold on, these guys are actually faster at integrating these new approaches, and that's also sort of why they won. Let's talk a little bit more about Reykjavik. The first news that came in was good. We saw that Riot sort of said, hey, about Breeze, okay, we're going to take it out of the map pool here because there's not much time and there's like a quarantine period and travel. It's not enough time to practice a new map. So obviously this is a great decision. Why the fuck was this happen in the first place? Like, my concern is that, like, no harm done really, because like no one's gameplay got affected by it, but no offense, but this should be objectively, it should be clear that this is a bad decision from the get-go. I don't know why you need to poke the fucking sleeping bear of all the pro players in the world and let them get pissed off publicly before you do this. Like, this really should go without saying. For a company like Riot Games, who is, their bread and butter has come from esports and creating narratives around esports and creating esports circuits and tournaments and memorable events, like, sorry, you guys are definitely better than this.
I mean,
oh my God, look at these fuckers. Look at these fuckers just looking away like, oh shit, please still Riot.
No. My dog jumped on me. My dog jumped on me.
It's not me.
I'm absorbing it because I'm from the school of, like, Because I was thinking of both hands, because we had a very similar situation already from the Ignition series over the summertime leading up to First Strike. Because the Ignition series pretty much happened every like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, or whatever. And then they still came out with Icebox for First Strike. And it was not used at any of the qualifiers until First Strike came out. And it's like, hey, surprise, we now have Icebox in a rotation. And I didn't hear anybody complain about that at that point, right? And they still played the map. NV got a fucking 12-0 and a half against Immortals on that one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it takes away from the quality of the gameplay potentially, because there's not enough practice going into there, where now competitive integrity, that sense, makes sense, right? But I wasn't opposed of having a new map and being like a month before Masters, just because that was the formula for First Strike. But if I put myself in the shoes of a player, 100%, I get their point of view, because you finish Masters 1, 2 weeks later, you're already trying to qualify through the whole bracket like everybody else into Masters 2 by Stage 2 Challengers 1. So there's no practice time for that too. Now that you finally made it, we just finished regionals. Now you have 2 weeks of practice. Technically, they finished regionals last weekend. They would have had 2 weeks of practice breeze going into Masters. So I do get that from that point of view. They have to be a little bit better for Riot to find a better time.
There are some regions that haven't qualified everyone yet, and we're 2 weeks out.
It's true. Yeah,
that's the thing though. Like, you gotta look at it this way as well. Like, this year is really big for marketing. Like, they really want to push Valorant out there. And look at the chat. Look at the chat. My man Alex, shout out to Alex. I went at Breeze for Masters 2. This is something that every viewer wants to see. And no one complained about Icebox, just like Van Silly said. Even after the event, no one complained about Icebox. We memed it. We joked about it. So they were thinking, hey, if we could get more out of it, then let's throw in a new map for the next Masters event. And that's the way it was. I'm happy that they listened to the pros, because that shows the direction of the esport.
I think, absolutely. What I think though is that, yes, it does sort of show the direction of the esport, but also they didn't make that decision in the first place. So like, I'm sorry, like, it does boil down to them not thinking it through properly. I hate to say it.
To be fair, they did have the whole Icebox thing. So it's kind of like, if you don't get punished the first time you do it, then how do you know it's wrong still?
Because you shouldn't be a dumbass, because you know how to run esports, because you've been doing it for
But no
years,
one said
you know what I mean?
anything though. It was okay. Icebox came and we praised it. The moment it came up on the map selection screen, we fucking went hype. And that was a really fun map to watch at first, because the idea of it, nobody at the time said Icebox shouldn't be played. What's Riot doing?
The stakes are higher than the stakes are going to keep getting higher. So these decisions, like the fallout from these decisions, will get worse if they're not made by paying attention to how players deal with it. And like chat's pointing out, it's not just the fact there's a new map, but it's also the way the veto works is completely different. So in theory, it's not just about learning Breeze. You actually have to add another map to your pool in general.
Yeah.
Because in fact, because you can't necessarily ban out all the maps you don't want to play anymore. Like, this is fine, but there's a lot of implications to this. And as the stakes get higher, the impact of these decisions made thoughtlessly will only increase. I don't think this is news to Riot. I think they kind of know this well and good. And there's a ton of stakeholders here. Like, there are, for example, people in chat saying, I wanted Breeze. So, okay, fair enough. That I can see why people would want some new spice. But I think all the teams need a minimum of a month. A minimum of a month to get a map. And that's
a bigger
arbitrary.
problem. There's a bigger problem you're not talking about, because it's not just maps. Like, yeah, they're throwing in a new map for an event. But the thing is, we just got done talking about Viper. We just got done watching Breach when he got buffed, like, half a year ago during a really important qualification time. I think Riot needs to sit down, and there has to be a conversation about, when we implement major meta-changing buffs and new maps, that we need to give the players time to adjust. Because getting that Viper buff and then going straight to challengers, that was rough to watch, man.
The thing is that this necessitates the construction of a tournament realm that is on a different patch than live, which is actually a pretty big job, because, for example, like, it would have to have it'll probably have a better tick rate, for example, right? Like, it would have to be server architecture that was built for the express purpose of allowing tournaments to operate on different patches live. That's functionality, to my knowledge, doesn't really exist. I'm quite sure that they, like, Riot have like a LAN server, that like a physical box like in a road case that they actually will, take to events. That's what Blizzard do. That's how they had a LAN server. But like you can't. Yeah, it fucks the veto. The veto process is like a big part of how teams prepare for these series. So you can't. Yeah, you can't do this, unfortunately. You can't do it. So I'm glad they reversed it, but I think there's like a bigger discussion around that because the people that are making these decisions, look, no harm is done, but it tells me that if they don't make the right decision the first time, that they still have a lot of learning to do, and they still have to understand what it's like to be a pro player in these positions. And in some senses, it smacks of a lack of experience. So I want people to be critical of their stewardship of this title because some of the decisions that they have made have indicated that there are some parts of their enterprise that lack experience in this context. And sort of otherwise these decisions wouldn't be happening. So, I'm glad they changed their mind, but they caused a lot of undue stress for it. And like, it's a lot more work to have to go back and fucking change something you announced publicly. So let's just try and get it right the first time. The trophy's been revealed. To go on a much lighter note, I guess. Here it is.
So I ain't never seen a trophy like that.
Yeah, it looks like
I have.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just got to find the 3 other stones right now in the fucking 5th element.
Yeah, it's I mean, I assume it is, the cross section is square, right? It's not just like some people it looks like a graphics card. I guess that's fair.
Right?
It's very, I think Valorant is very good at getting this sort of postmodern industrial vibe kind of thing going on. You know what I mean? Like it's all shipping containers and like new age tech and stuff like that.
I'm talking shit about it, but I love it. I actually like it.
It's Reyna's lipstick, right? It's not ugly, but it's not like, oh my god, it's the dopest. It's like, oh, it's cool.
Yeah. I think it's fucking dope, to be honest.
I'm going to be honest. The reason why I'm saying that is probably because before every single one of us saw that picture, we all imagined something that was really big and vibrant and out there and cool looking, right? But then we got something that was simplistic with a little bit of cool look to it. You know what I'm saying? So that's not what we expected.
It's very Valorant. It's very Valorant. Yeah. Like there would be nothing nothing over the top, nothing too traditional, nothing too like gaudy, right? Nothing too gaudy at all.
Yeah. As a tangent, Veli, do you have sound going through your headphones? Because I feel like every time you want to speak up and you want to hear yourself, you're like taking your headphone out so that you can hear yourself speak. So just put the sound through your fucking ears, bro.
Put some side tone on, yeah.
Okay, I got you, man. Damn. I'm the IT guy here too. I'm the IT guy. I know someone was gonna know this one day, but yeah, keep talking about the trophy.
All right. Well, I mean, do you have a Go XLR, Veli?
No. So I went and brought this Focusrite thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should give you side tone.
See it, but
yeah. I mean, if you have a Scarlett, you should have side tone, but you have to plug a headset into the Scarlett itself. Is that what? Are you not doing that?
Oh no, he just muted himself now.
He's just turned off his focus. All right.
I do it during the break.
Okay. Anyway, that's. By the way, for those that don't know, commentators love side tone. We love being able to hear our voice because our voice sounds very different through our jawbone than it does through headsets. So
yeah, exactly.
Using side tone is one way to preserve our voice and to make sure that we're actually, especially if we're in an arena, is to make sure that our voice is where it needs to be because sometimes you can't hear yourself and that's a big problem. Anyway, let's move on.
I love you, Veli.
We have Fnatic already in Reykjavik. Are they already there? I know that there's teams. Yeah, okay. So, are they going to Malta? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Fucking show-offs.
They gotta go meet Sponge and Machine and hang out for a bit before they go to.
Yeah, the Lanshin. They're going to the Lanshin. What I don't get is that Fnatic has a facility in Shoreditch in London. So why are they going to? I mean, Malta fucking owns, so I hear it's fucking gorgeous. But
why not?
But listen, that doesn't sound like somewhere you go for a boot camp, though. You know,
bring the fucking morale up, dude. You just fucking qualified to Iceland, and then you go to Malta, get some sun, boot camp, bring the spirits up, and then come into Iceland.
Could be travel restrictions, right? Like COVID stuff.
Yeah, you saw those CS videos where like the players have these, they're in these nice places, mansions with all these beautiful women around them to boot camp. This is a new era of boot camping, man. You go to somewhere nice and exotic and live it up in Malta.
No offense, but I don't think any of Fnatic have really the time or wherewithal to attract such members of their preferred sex. But apparently your travel corridors is the reason. Obviously, T-Spark in chat is actually Maltese, so he can explain this for us. So Yeah, they're in a mansion. Can't confirm the ladies, but yeah. So there are travel corridors with no quarantine in Malta right now, which sort of makes sense. So, I mean, that's a great way for that team to be able to get together because I'm pretty sure guys like Magnum and Durka and stuff, they're not all in the UK yet. I think only like the core of that Fnatic team are. So they're called Maltese, really. They're Maltese people. Yeah. So
Like
yeah,
a
that's
chocolate.
yeah, like Maltesers, but not quite the
Got
same.
you.
Yeah,
I
those are
didn't
so
know.
good.
No, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, it's you know, nice country, but not exactly at the forefront of global sort of news all the time. But I'd
Never
love to
thought
visit
about
there.
what you call Maltese people. All right, keep
Do you
going.
want to hear some insights here because I think Dapr is a little scared about Iceland. Let's hear what he had to say because he clearly has only the most reliable information.
It's like a jail. I'm pretty sure it's like a jail, bro. They bring you food on like plates and shit. Like it's gonna be like metal plates. They're gonna give us like plastic forks so we don't like kill ourselves or something. It's gonna be like crazy. I swear it's gonna be. They're gonna give me like a lamb head. Like I don't even know what Iceland eats, bro. It's already gonna be like prison. Zip zaps. We actually look. They don't have DoorDash there, guys. They don't have McDonald's. They don't have Starbucks in Iceland, bro. They look all of Iceland. They don't have a Starbucks.
Sounds
What
like a
the
first
fuck
world
did I
kind of
just
thing.
Watch. They don't have DoorDash or Starbucks. It's a prison.
You know, we don't really have Starbucks in Australia either.
Sounds privileged.
Okay, so first of
Fucking
all, I get the
prison.
impression that Dapper comes from a pretty affluent background. I don't know if anyone can confirm that for me.
He's
But
a
I'm pretty
bougie
sure
motherfucker.
I'm pretty sure I saw something like I'm pretty sure I saw him asking Shazam for like a weekend off scrim so he could go to fucking Cabo. So yeah,
What?
yeah. Okay, so first of all, I don't. What I've seen from the teams at MSI is that they're pretty happy with the setup out there. I think they're chilling.
Yeah.
Where does he come up with this metal plate plastic cutlery malarkey?
I think he's watching another land that's happening right now in esports.
Is he talking about? Is he talking about the Six Invitational, Valley? Because that
Maybe the
sounds
Six
more like it.
Invitational. Oh, Uber, you can introduce this if you want, but yeah.
Oh my god.
This so you have MSI and then you have what you're looking at now, and the players got Modi food and it wasn't the best, right? And it sucks. And this isn't me
That's
talking
their
shit about
breakfast.
them. This is
It's very European, yeah.
Yeah.
if this is Europe. I lived in Europe for a year. This is not European. This
It's
is
Paris though.
No,
Dude, I went to Esports World Cup in
my uncle
2007.
eats better in jail.
Dude, I went to Esports World Cup in 2007, and I landed on a Sunday at 3 p.m. and everything was fucking closed, except for a bakery. So all of us bought fucking baguettes, and we were eating baguettes, and no pate, no cold cuts, just a fucking loaf of bread. It was even Entity was there, so Entity was playing for Team Canada back then too, because he was part of that roster. But yeah,
That's not a standard. That's not a standard. That's not a standard. You guys need to
Okay.
understand one thing, though. The people at MSI, I haven't seen any complaints at all, even from the
Exactly.
talent that's there. This is a one-off in regards to COVID, because whether you guys want to believe it or not, this is not the first, second, or third COVID land bubble that has been going on, but it is the first one that has food like that. But yeah,
So just for your information, the quality of life in Iceland is considered to be extremely high.
is it better?
Extremely high. The cost of living is very expensive.
yeah,
but-
because you got to import everything.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
their safety,
It's
their
nice.
healthcare, their traffic, their pollution levels, all that stuff. The purchasing power is also really quite good. So, I think on a scale of 0 to 240, it's like 177 in general. So that's
Wow.
yeah. I don't know what the fuck Dapper's talking about. And also, by the way, can we just say, who fucking cares about your Starbucks, cunt? Like,
Hey, what the fuck?
just drink a different coffee. Like, fuck me, I'm drinking the shit. Do you think I'm married to this stuff? Like, I don't know. He's trolling. I think he's trolling.
Of
because
course, of course.
It sounds super entitled. I honestly, like, okay, so there's on one end, here's what I thought was insane. Derry Holt, Desert Shoe, was tweeting about the Rainbow Six stuff, like, oh, these guys are complaining about nothing. You know, they just need to suck it up. Derry, you're a dickhead.
Yeah,
like, the
Derry's a
conditions look
dumbass for
absolutely
that one.
fucking awful, mate. Like, you're talking
His
shit like,
nose
no,
is
back in
browner
my
than me.
day, I had to walk to Paris for my tournaments through the snow uphill. Like, listen, mate, like, they have moldy food and stuff. Like, you cannot say that this is acceptable. But he's trying to say that, I think. that is the other end of the spectrum. That's a little bit too far.
Yeah.
If we meet in the middle and realize that, yeah, like if you're in Europe, like it's not going to be like what you're used to. I lived in Germany for 3 years. It was really inconvenient for me to live in Germany for 3 years. I didn't speak the language very well. The food was different. Everything was expensive. It was just fucking different. But I'm sorry, like, fucking suck it up. I mean, you're going to play a LAN. There are still going to be social distancing requirements, especially for you, who, as far as I know, didn't get a shot when you could. I literally saw you tweet about it. And then you said, oh, fuck, I think I've got COVID. Wow, fuck me dead, bro. What a shot.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
No,
I
offense,
honestly
you've got
the
great
point.
eyebrows, Dapr, and you're fucking good at the game. But Jesus Christ, that was a torrent of torrent of excrement that just ejected from your mouth.
I just think he's just very good at helping people create fucking topics
young.
in the subreddit of Valorant competitive. I think it's mostly that.
How old
Okay.
is Dapr really, though? I mean, we're
He's a young
talking
blood.
about
He's a
exactly
young blood,
going
young blood.
overseas by himself, you know, quarantining in a hotel. This is something that he's never even thought about doing in life. So I expect over exaggeration from him. Shit's good content, though.
He seems like a rich kid. I'm telling you. He just,
Oh, 1,000,000%. I
Yeah.
would sell him a gram for 50.
Fuck, man.
You know?
And then put it in
I
a,
don't
put
sell.
parsley in a
I
bag.
don't.
Oh, exactly. Jesus fucking Christ, mate. Like,
This the good shit? Yeah, parsley in a bag, $50.
anyway, so like it's cool. It's cool. Dapr recently tweeted a picture, which is a bit scary. I mean, if you're a Sentinels fan, I don't really care personally, but yeah, he tweets the Pepe Hopium picture.
Oh.
So that seems a little bit concerning. I think everyone is sort of monitoring this as it goes because he tweeted like it's good to forget. I don't know, it's a bunch of shit, you know what I mean? So it seems like poor guy. I'm shitting on him right now. And he's obviously going through some stuff. I mean, shouldn't have said dumb shit, but still, hopefully everything's okay. We'll try. If anything comes up in the show, we'll tell you. But here you go. Berlin announced for Masters 3. Here's this anyway. Here you go. So this is, I mean, that's a bit concerning. What the fuck? Like, what's going on with this guy? Why has he changed his picture to?
I want to know what the
Craig?
hopium is, man. I wasn't even looking at our VMix call because I'm
What's
just staring at his wall too. I'm
right?
trying to figure out what's happening. Again, hopefully it's nothing that's super serious as well, right? So
Yeah.
I really hope they're all right.
Yeah. Okay. A bit concerning. I don't know what that's about, but hopefully he personally is okay. Just because I shit on him on this podcast doesn't mean I don't want good things for him. All right. So yeah, again, Masters 3 has its venue announced. Berlin is going to be the location. Convenient location considering that Riot actually have an entire studio there and also like half their company. That makes sense. So Berlin is going to be the location for Masters 3. That's sick. A big Valorant LAN in Europe. I mean, Berlin fucking owns. Little dirty at times, a little bit unclean in some places. Pretty quite a smorgasbord of different cultures sort of mashed together and travel together. Also, probably a bit of a hotbed for COVID as of late. But still, I mean, it is it's a fantastic city overall and a great place to be holding an event like this. So kudos. I can't wait. Let's go to Berghain. I'm never getting to Berghain, bro. I'm pretty sure you need to have it like you need to turn up with like missing a limb or something to sort of distinguish yourself enough to get into Berghain. But yeah, Berlin's
I've heard
pretty wild.
stories about Germany just in general, man, and the fact that we're even gonna be able to go there and have another Valorant International LAN is fucking sick. But I really like the fact that they're using it. I'm assuming you're gonna use an LEC studio, right? Like obviously,
most likely.
that shit's
Well,
gonna be a fucking banger.
Maybe not, but yeah, I mean, either way, a lot of their infrastructure is already in the city, so they don't have to
I wonder
use
if
the LEC studio because the LEC studio is not that big. Like it doesn't house a very big crowd. It has a very it has like a comedy night, not a comedy night feel. Like it's got more people than that,
But I think if you have a bit of those people, like some of the talent, if it doesn't fit anybody there, you house a bit at the studio, house a bit at the venue, stuff like that.
better than fucking Paris, boys. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Better than fucking Paris. But like you could have there's a bunch of places like in Ernza, in like in Denmark. There's a great location there as well. Obviously, you could do it in Sweden as well. But there's like a big arena out there. Yeah, the Messe.
Wait,
in
dude
Berlin.
with the nose says the sickest part of Germany is every cab being a BMW, Audi, or a Benz. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
because they're cheap there. They're actually like they're your
German cars,
everyman's
bro.
car over there. Yeah.
They're like Honda Civics out
They're
there.
the Honda
That's
Civics,
fucking
dude.
sick.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So like a lot. Yeah, I mean that's pretty.
Everybody
normal,
drives a Golf.
I like it.
Yeah, like well, no, a lot of them have like like hotted up VWs or like Benz compressors and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean the autobahn has no speed limit as well on some parts, so there's actually a reason to have fast cars out there. Although you still shouldn't speed on the autobahn. But I'm getting sidetracked. Look, our producer Ian's obsessed with this, so we're gonna go back and talk about it. I kind of skipped over it here, but did you guys hear the volcano erupted in Reykjavik and there were no survivors?
They all got died.
None.
This
The
is
whole
real,
place
by
got
the way,
flattened. It's
chat.
Pompeii 2.0.
So
How does that sound? I was lost to my own
The Bastille song, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The walls came
Tumbling down, and the city.
Anyway, so there's a
And
fucking-
that,
there was
by
a-
the way, I'm actually happy there's no Starbucks or McDonald's there because that looks fucking beautiful.
Yeah,
It
I think.
does.
Listen, you'll be able to find coffee there, no problem. You just won't be able to get your fucking nitro cold brew with the double added shot of caffeine and with
Probably
the soy.
can, and it's a lot better.
Starbucks is overrated anyway.
Yeah.
It's gonna be filtered with pure water, dude. It's gonna be fucking amazing.
Did RyanCentral say something interesting in the chat? It's in the Verdi music hall. Okay, he actually had something legitimate to add. There you go. So the venue's already been, so it's not going to be at the LEC studios, which makes sense. Thanks, Ryan.
Oh, it's not.
Thanks, Ryan. See you in a bit.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
see, mate.
that's what I was saying. Are they gonna like premiere like the new European studio or just a makeshift? That's something I'm really interested in. as
No,
well.
what? A new?
No,
what,
no,
has
no.
there been an announcement about a new studio? No,
Ryan
no,
gave
no.
a spot.
Yeah,
Ryan,
who announced his surprises?
Ryan said it's in
I'm
an
hopeful.
auditorium called the Vertical something something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, the Vertical
Is it-
Music Hall.
You fucks! I literally just said that after he got Donut World saying that. The Verdi music.
Yeah, sorry, we don't know all you.
Jesus
Yes.
fuck. Anyway, so I would be very excited. Also, you should try the fermented fish head in Iceland if you guys can. Yeah,
thanks.
Dapr, you should definitely get around that one, mate. You look like you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth at all. All right, we'll come back after the break. We've got a bunch to talk about with Europe and NA qualifiers. Obviously, we actually are somewhat educated in those areas, so we can actually give you some valid, relevant, useful information as opposed to letting Van Silly do all the work. So stick around. We'll be back. Talk about Europe, talk about NA. RyanCentral's coming. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to VALORANTing. We've said goodbye to Van Silly because unlike Dapr, he sees the value in getting a COVID vaccine and is going to go get jabbed, so good on him. We brought RyanCentral in, who's looking stock still. I mean, I'm
He's
impressed. that you can-
very.
All right, no worries.
Come on, Ryan, get your shit together, man.
It's just, it's
hello?
really
There
just
we
a
go.
white balance.
There
concern.
we
There we
go.
go. What's
What's
up?
up?
What's up?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, not too shabby. I mean, we've had a sort of a week off the show, so we've had a
Oh.
chance to. I'm kidding. We haven't done anything really in terms
By the
of
way,
you know.
Yeah, Ryan, yo, what's up? I just want to say, I love you. By the way, I was really happy to see you get your shot on the big screen, with the big boys and girls over there in the EU. I love seeing you work, and
Thank
I
you.
hope I see more of it. Seriously.
Listen,
Yeah.
man, that hard work on press 4 to defuse is finally
yeah.
the
The fucking
breakthrough.
show that people are like, wait, is there no games today? Never mind, I'm off, basically. But yeah.
And you did your shit too. You didn't just step in and just bullshit. You
Yeah,
did your damn thing. So I
had-
was really happy for that.
I had to do a 10-minute analysis of a 13-0. Like that is a trial by fire if I've ever seen one. But yeah, it was good to be involved.
Yes.
Good shit. Looking forward to seeing more in the future, man. We obviously bring you on here because you actually watch a bunch of Europe, which is great because I think our expertise lies in somewhat different directions here. But we want to talk a little bit more about EMEA Masters. I think we had you on quite recently talking about this as well, but we're going to rehash some of those, especially for those that want to build into what is going on here in Reykjavik. So let's have a look at this. I think, listen, I mean, we can sort of start from the beginning here. Now, this reads sort of from up to down here. So we look at this is GSL style for those that are wondering. So we have elimination and a decided match here. But crucially, last time we chatted, Team Liquid had just beaten FPX.
Mhm.
I mean, FPX coming back and capitulating to Gambit it's got to be huge news in Europe, right? That seems insane.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I think going on with G2. I'm just so used to saying them overall,
That's
but yeah,
fine,
like
a lot going on with G2. Don't know
Yeah,
what's happening
yeah,
over there. Crazy.
yeah, I'm just so not used to it happening into FPX. But let's be honest, it's not the only time that they've kind of like screwed the pooch when it gets to a important moment in the tournament. I think in previous instances, like First Strike Masters 1, it was always single elim. So if they lost, it was more of an upset, and there was no way for them to come back. They kind of just go, oh, they didn't show up on the day, they just got unlucky. But then when you go down to an elimination match and lose that as well, it was a really good game against Gambit. It wasn't that I think FPX played poorly. It does make you question like what is going on with that squad overall, because this is, as people would define it, one of the best teams in the world that isn't even going to Iceland, and they got beat out by two teams that looked really good, but have only recently started looking good. Surely FPX's tenure at the top should have amounted to more, but it didn't. I think they all just had a really poor series. Shadow didn't play well. Angel was like 5 yards ahead of everybody else. So if he got killed, nobody could trade him because he was just full running in some cases. It was just like not a great look for a team that people had so much promise for, I guess, in a big tournament like this one.
Yeah, obviously, pretty disappointing that they don't even sort of make it to that sort of finals bracket there. I think we may have had some B-roll there for the FPX and Gambit game, but yeah, people, I mean, here it is here. I mean, people are definitely really shocked to sort of see this. I think because this was like the quintessential example of like awesome European squad with like a crazy distinct style, just not having a chance to show this stuff on the world stage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Gambit fan. I think these were the two teams that I expected to go through. Right. The fact that both of them didn't qualify tilted me off the face of the earth, for one, but also it just goes to show that it isn't really like, this is my problem going into Masters. Like, yeah, it's fun to speculate about who's going to do well based off previous performances. Sentinels really good at bouncing back. But it really does depend who just gets into Iceland and who just gets on it first, because Fnatic and Liquid were momentum teams. Like, Liquid did ascend to get better, as I guess we'll talk about, but Fnatic have looked good since they got in Durka and Magnum, right? They haven't really been... They're still in their honeymoon period, I guess is what I would call it. So it's a shame to see two teams that have been in the scene for this long and have really pushed the boat out when it comes to meta and how to play the game kind of fall at the last hurdle, which is a bit heartbreaking for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the teams that we end up with still is quite heartening for fans of Europe. But you know what I think's so funny is that people coming into Masters were worried. They were like, there's a possibility that there's no European team and it's just the Turkeys or two CIS teams. I mean, fucking shut up. You got two European teams that have gone through. No CIS, no Turkish teams. Obviously, Fnatic go up against Gambit Esports in the semifinals. So these are the games that have happened since we last spoke there. And I mean, first map, not very close in this particular series. It was a 13-6 on Icebox. Durka looks like himself, I guess, across this series. And Fnatic make a big statement and say, yeah, we belong in Reykjavik.
Yeah, and it's one of Gambit's best maps overall is Icebox. And I think a good part of it was shutting down Defo, who is the Gambit Jet. Very good at opping, both on attack and defense. But when you have a aggressive Jet like Durka, even now just sort of posturing in a position to take a fight early, take an engagement, all on his own. Nobody's there to realistically trade him. He was winning out. He was 21-15 if I look at the stats. Defo was 9-16. Like, it was just the battle of the Jets, the battle of those carry players, and really only one of them showed up on this one, which you kind of need your Jet. If you're especially open, your Jet needs to show up on the defense, and Defo just didn't. And it's also very expensive, right, with the up. So if you're losing 8 rounds in a row, how many rounds are you going to be able to pick up the up? Like 2? It's not. It's a tough all time.
And that's just how it works. I think with the MR12 nature of the game here. I love this winning moment for Fnatic as well. I think Boaster was busting some moves out there, and yeah, I mean, look,
Boaster's my favorite personality, by the way. We keep going. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. I mean, yeah, very talented. Looks like a very multi-talented kind of guy.
Yes.
I think, my favorite thing from him was his response to Lothar's tweet about like the body blocking
Viper
the snake bite.
Did you see the comms video that Fnatic did? Because he actually body blocked a snake bite on that bind map. I think it was.
No way, really?
Doma was so the Viper was in showers. Doma just runs at them, and the snake bite just kind of like bounces off his chest to the side. And I think Boaster says like, "Oh, Loafer's gonna cream at that," like it was just in the middle of the game. And yeah, like I was on the desk with Loafer, and he was like, "You body blocked it," and he was just like frantically searching for the clip to send to like Freaks for You, like find it. Basically, it was it was a really tough game. That Bind map was really good. And considering that Bind is such a good map for Fnatic overall, Gambit did well to make it super close. It really did come down to theatrics from, Durka again, but like this round especially, this flash that comes in from Magnum, Showstopper's there to go. Like, you do not get any more clutch than this.
Absolutely owned. Absolutely owned. Yeah, this is actually an insane clip because you know what we have? We have the voice comms from this actual round, which we can show, I think, as well. But I mean, watch it play out because it's pretty insane to hear how chaotic some of the comms are and how they try and set up that last little peak. But I mean, many of you might have seen the Fnatic comms video, but for those that haven't, here is the last round, or that very round from Fnatic's POV with their comms in. Check it out.
Mate, he raised it out short, insta. Could have just done it.
Bomba hookah. I flash.
Did the smoke. Chill
I
out.
don't
He's dogging hookah. It's B, probably.
No,
Docking. Can be out.
He's dogging.
Saw me.
fast rotating, Dapr just
Hookah.
see left maybe.
Joining up B long as well.
I'm
big,
droning.
rotate.
I'm droning back. I'm droning
They
back.
molly spawn. They're doing the thing, but they wrap elbow. The strap. The strap went the
I'm running. Yeah, they are.
Be long
Nice.
out.
I'm TP.
One side.
Do you want to TP behind them?
One more side. One side. One is in this
He's
side.
running reverse default. You can wallbang him, Mystic.
Nice.
Nice. Found the dead. Last long.
Stick it.
1v4. 1v4.
Iceland boys. Okay, chill.
I'm not
Chill,
picking.
chill,
I'm not
chill,
picking.
Play together.
Hold his
I'm
spawn.
reconning. I'm
He's
reconning.
minus 80.
Demon's got nade and everything.
Can you be back?
You can if you
On me.
Just go behind.
fall back. I can hold with you.
Nading him.
Don't
in the
pick,
nade.
don't pick, guys.
That swing.
Play
Just
together.
don't pick, boys.
Dark is
Mystic.
I'm jigging it
So
elbow.
only.
His side.
That's with him again.
He's long. He's long.
I got your cross.
Got bomb.
Can we just jump out window and then swing
Yeah,
down?
Mystic,
ready?
go.
Yeah. 1,
2,
2,
1.
3.
Let's fucking go! We're going to Iceland! We're going to Iceland, boys!
Let's fucking go!
Oh my
Nice,
god!
boys.
Let's fucking go, boys! Guys, my something ripped in my
fucking
head.
combat.
I screamed that hard that something ripped my
Nice.
Ever just scream so hard that something rips in your head, boys?
He had a
He sounded so
concussion before,
confused.
so I think he gave himself another one just off of that. Yeah, like
The
I
fuck
love
that happened?
Magnum.
That clip should be showed to every pro team out there in any game. Fundamentals in a shooter is everything right there. When it came to the paint shells to back him up from elbow, when it came to the satchels to either push him in front of the can or on the opposite side to go towards garden, the spacing, and then also he's coming my way. I'm going to back up. Let's count to 3 and peek him together. In NA, Uber, what happens? In NA, we 1-by-1 that shit. We're like, yo, we're King Kong. We're going to handle these 1v1s. But the fact that it shows that the IGL, the leadership, and just their ideology of the way that they attack the game. See, stuff like that gets me excited because I feel like not a lot of pros or teams do this, and not even just Valorant. I'm talking about every shooter out there. This is a step-by-step team, and their ego does not affect their gameplay. I cannot wait to see what Fnatic fucking does.
I think it's pretty clear to see that their coordination was on point there. I think the
Yeah.
flash on Shados as he tries to satchel out the window is just. I mean, the guy showstopper at a wall. That could have been that site broken open there.
That was it.
Really insane. And they knew what strat was coming as well. They actually sort of. I think they read what was going on. There was no chance for Gambit to wrap elbow, but there was definitely a sense that they wanted to do that. So.
Like Magda was an absolute hero towards the end. Like even from like our perspective, because you're about to go on a desk. We were literally just assuming that Gambit were going to win out this map because what was it
Sure.
to begin with? Like Gambit were 9-3 up at halftime, like against an attack from Fnatic, and Gambit had a really good defense. They just shut down a lot of stuff. There's some really like neat, cute micro stuff that happened where Fnatic like to like owl drone to see all of these like cute positions that Gambit like to play from because they're like in the corner as you come out of showers, like right in the corner. They like to play on those like suicide angles. So obviously an Eldron coming in kind of ruins all of that. They use like Sky utility, basically just flashing the Eldron over and over again. So they don't get any information with it and they can continue to play from these like shitty little angles. And it actually did really well against Fnatic. So yeah, it was a crazy way to sort of bring it back within how many rounds was it in the end? Like 10 rounds out of 12 on the defense to clutch it. Like if you Gambit, you're going to feel bad on that. But Fnatic, this new version of them with Magnum and Durka just looks impossible to deal with for most teams.
Ryan, so now that they're going to Iceland, right? Looking at Fnatic and how, let's be completely honest, I mean, no one could say that miles away they saw this coming where Fnatic were going to be this damn good, right? How do you think that team is going to stack up to the rest of the competition? Because when it comes to being well-rounded, I honestly think they have it all.
Yeah, I feel like I've said this a couple of times. I feel that there's a strong chance that both Liquid and Fnatic could win Masters 2. Like you can't, it's very difficult to argue against it. And I think that if you look at it like almost like a Formula One perspective, I could see the European teams doing better than the two North American teams. If you're looking like Sentinels could win it, but Version1 might come like 5th or 6th, whereas I feel that Fnatic and Liquid could come 2nd and 3rd, 3rd and 4th. You get the idea. Like just aggregate wise, like they just seem to be a much more consistent. And I really like Version1. I think it's just more that both of those have a fighting chance. My problem with both Fnatic and Liquid overall, though, is like I said before, they're on a bit of a honeymoon period. They've only lost one game in like this stage from Challengers 2 to qualifying. Fnatic lost to Team Liquid in the grand final of EMEA. And we saw Liquid losing to Fnatic in the grand final of Challengers 2. They're both effectively seeding matches and a bit of prize money. So I don't think those losses really matter that much in the grand scheme of things. Of course, it's going to feel shit to lose those games, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't matter, those games that they lost. If they go into Iceland and lose to like X10 or something, I don't know how they're going to react. They could just do what FPX did and completely flop and kind of panic themselves a little bit. We know that Sentinels of Version1, they could lose, but they still have that ability to recuperate quickly and respond well after a surprise loss. I don't know if we have that with both Fnatic and Team Liquid. I don't know what happens if they lose because both teams have a bit of a history of botching some games up, certainly Liquid.
Now, I mean, let's talk about the other side of this qualifying bracket, right? Because Team Liquid, this is such a... So Oxygen obviously made it through Group B because they beat Guild and they beat Footballist, right? So, you know, I think that group was maybe a little bit softer. If you know, Group A was pretty fucking brutal, but
yeah.
So Fnatic, you know, they come through that bracket by beating. Oxygen come through by beating Footballist in an elimination game after losing to Guild. Then they and then they beat Guild as they go through Oxygen. That is. So then they take on Team Liquid in the semifinals, right? There's a 13-0 to start the series. They win 3 rounds in 2 maps. They are not even in the same galaxy as Liquid in this series. What a disappointing match, in my opinion.
Yeah, and considering that like Oxygen looked really good to beat a Guild team that is looking a lot stronger, more comprehensive, and just less wobbly, I suppose, than we've seen in the past. I would just put this down to nerves. Considering how poorly Turkey did as a region overall in EMEA, I imagine the weight of the world was on their shoulders, and Team Liquid just got better as the tournament went on. They just felt like a carry sort of champion in League of Legends, where they start off a bit slow, but as the game starts to drag out a bit more, they level up and look stronger as time goes on. And I think this is a resounding way to qualify your spot. And I think Oxygen just didn't know how to deal with it. I think they played Haven like 3 times all year. They've only started recently using it as a bit of a choice pick, but they clearly had no idea how to approach this just ridiculous composition that Team Liquid has been playing. I guess the only bad side of it overall for Team Liquid is this is a pretty good composition, but now everybody's seen it and everybody has a chance to work out how to counter it. So a bit of pressure on Team Liquid to kind of like maybe get ahead of the curve before people catch them up on that comp, because it's a really cool one. But they might have shown their hand a bit early, but they kind of had to because they had played up against FPX, right? You can't go into that one a bit, you know, lackadaisical.
Absolutely. I think obviously we obviously saw, you know, Fnatic and Liquid play off in the final. Was there any obviously it's for seeding purposes, Liquid obviously win that. Do you think there was much value in that series, having sort of watched it? Because I mean, it's like the maps are really, some of them are really one-sided in this series, in this final. It was kind of, it's always weird to have these 2 teams play off after they've already qualified. You know, what's your takeaways from this?
I mean, you have to kind of like hype it up when you're there and sort of part of the team overall. Yeah, I do think there's some interesting ones. I think Team Liquid losing Haven 13-3, considering everything I just mentioned about their comp and their way of playing, I mean, that's probably a good thing for Team Liquid to kind of go, oh, this is where this comp is weak. We can either put in a different agent to fix some of the problems that we were having, or we can just practice and kind of learn from our mistakes here. If anything, both of these teams, because they still seem to be in very nascent periods, playing out all 5 of the maps that are going to be in the map pool because Breeze isn't going to be anymore is probably a really good way of just getting some more real, both for the counter strat in teams like Fnatic and Liquid, but also to watch those games. Like let's say Fnatic win on Bind, Team Liquid can look at that and go, well, we still like to play Bind. What can we do if people pull out Fnatic's compositions? Like, I think that's the main way. Both teams seem to be trying. I don't think there was any sandbagging, but I don't think any team was going to show off like a kooky new set default or strategy or anything like that. But it's just good track, I suppose, to get a bit of real in some stats and find stuff to work on before Reykjavik.
Oh, good question. I have a good question for you now. Now that we're seeing this crazy aggressive and fucking great Liquid right now, Ryan, it's kind of similar to what we see in my region. How do you feel like that play style is going to last? In the meantime, in Europe against the rest of the competition, because they're very in your face, man. They want these fights.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who said it, but I feel like as the tournament went on, obviously we saw that 13-0 with Oxygen. In North America, there was some really awkward, scrappy games for like Cloud9 and Envy and stuff. Pretty sure it was like Wyatt or whoever mentioned it. There's just a lot of like weird stuff that was happening because nerves will get like, I don't think we're going to be getting we're not going to be seeing the best Valorant in Iceland. I think it's going to rescind a little bit because we're on land for the first time. Teams are going to be nervous.
Yeah.
I think some of those fundamentals are going to start to slip, and we get some really scrappy, smeagy styles of Valorant. I think whilst Liquid and Fnatic might have the best interests of slowing the game down and playing a bit more methodically and execute heavy, I think it's going to be really difficult to do that on the stage for the first time for some of these guys. So I do feel that like while Sentinels have their issues by losing to pretty much anybody at any given time, I think they're pretty experienced when it comes to lands overall. Like you could say that people like Fnatic and Liquid don't quite have that, but they also just seem very quick to learn when stuff goes wrong, right? And so I could definitely see either Team Liquid or Fnatic winning Masters, but I could also see them bottoming out because they just can't get a handle on a new way to play the game. And some team like Newturn that plays on LAN with the stages and in the Challengers finals will just absolutely breeze through them. Not because they're a better team, but they actually sit on the LAN stage and kind of go, we're used to this. Whereas there's like Soulcast that's just there like shaking, like trying to get it, like not specifically him, right? But you get the point that they're a young squad. I don't imagine it's going to be easy to just go onto LAN and do the same things there again.
Yeah, of course. And playing that methodic style, especially against teams that want to push through smokes and stuff and don't have any respect for like the executes, like Brazilian squads. I'm interested to see how that, especially interested to see how that style sort of matches up against them. Let's go back over NA here and talk about how they're shaping up. Before we do that,
I got some breaking news I've just seen.
Yep.
Taylor's been dropped
Taylor
from
news,
TSM.
right?
Yeah.
Yep. Let's bring that up here because I queued this well in advance.
Shit.
Beat you to it. We just saw that Taylor was just released here for TSM. This is a bold move, and it definitely indicates that TSM are moving in a very different direction. Taylor has featured on a couple of podcasts, and I've had a chance to hear him speak to the game, and definitely seem to have a pretty good understanding here. But they're going away from him here. I wonder who they've replaced him with. Hopefully not another sports psychologist, but who knows?
Another AI. They've duplicated him. Just copy and pasted.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Making moves. I like it.
I was just going to say, Josh RT did a signed emoji tweet. There's a lot of rumors that he's going to NRG, which is probably likely, but there's a cheeky bet that he's made his way into TSM, and he's been very good at being able to build squad out of not really nothing, but I think he gets the most out of players that he picks up and puts these like mixed rosters together. So maybe there's potential there to be a bit more of a man manager, get the most out of TSM, because individually they're a great squad, but it's about putting them together and actually meshing them as a team, which has never really been a thing.
When we talk about Sentinels lineup, like TSM, they fall in that same category. They just don't win.
Who was Josh actually coaching? It wasn't the Renegades, was it?
He was a player mostly, wasn't he? He played on like he played on a team that beat T1 quite a while ago. Let me see what they were called. But I remember there was it was a team that had like a lot of individual players that were just showing up. I don't think it was race. It wasn't. I think it was headshot percentage.
No.
Yeah, it was headshot percentage because he had players like Exalt on it who went plus 24 against them. So yeah, he was more like putting teams together with like miniature Nosy, those kind of people, and being a part of the team and not being a coach specifically.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I see the tweet now. He was playing with
Yeah.
them. Okay, interesting. Yeah, let's see what he can do, of course. Obviously, yeah, this conversation now, obviously, you remove Cutler, you remove Tailored. So I think a lot of the governance of your team is going to change in game, I think, when it comes to like philosophy of
Yep.
coaching and calling style. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. I'm also interested to see who they go for. Obviously, we just saw that Jonta is no longer with FPX and it's Doom Bros now, who's obviously regular here on the stream and hangs out in chat. So congrats to him. And yeah, so I mean, Jonta's been around since Counter Strike days. He was with Flipside coaching that team. So we'll see where he lands. But yeah, that's just a little bit of a side note. Let's talk a little bit about the North American qualifiers heading into Reykjavik here, because we all made our predictions, and it was actually Sentinels and Version 1 that end up making it through. Valley, I mean, we got to see really a coming of age or a coming alive of a few of our North American teams like Cloud9 Blue, who I know you'll speak to a little bit later. But let's talk about Sentinels here. They obviously qualify by beating Cloud9 Blue, right? That's how they get there. In fact, both teams have to beat C9 Blue to qualify. But Sentinels, you know what I mean, despite their sort of ups and downs, I guess, mostly ups recently, they still look pretty good.
Well, the Sentinels have always been, and no one ever wants to talk about this, but like I even went out and said it. Like Sentinels, despite what we saw in Masters when Tens got on the team, they had their really big inconsistent moments where I even questioned them here on this show. And I was saying, Sentinels is scaring me now. So we saw a bracket where Sentinels were winning not 2-0, 2-0, 2-0 in dominant fashion, but it's 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. But it still looks like it's in dominant fashion. I'm not worried about this team, but the game is changing, and we can't expect a team like it Vision Strikers to win every game is, just untouchable. It's fucking the greatest, right? Sentinels, they don't scare me. By far, I think they are just I don't know, man. Like every time we talk about second tens, it's like they're battling on who's gonna be better with each other. The way that Shazam is able to play, Shazam has stepped his shit up even more. I thought Shazam was good. I never followed CS. Shazam is even better than I thought he was from when I first covered First Strike and all that. So I love the progression I see from this team as well. Version 1 on the other end, Uber, I'm not gonna front, dog. That shit was crazy. When we saw Version 1 in the past, I think one of their first games that we saw, it was against the Sonics, and it was a big deal. And like, maybe not the Sonics, but I remember it was a big comeback win in order to like come back and make the series respectable. They overall lost, right? But they showed that throughout the playoffs as well. Version 1 doesn't give up. They're all in your face. And it's funny when you look at the play styles as well, because Version 1 isn't a team like Cloud9 Blue where they stretch out the map, fill you out, and try to counter strat you. Take a look at the red bodies on your screen. They know what they want to do. They make up their mind, and once they feel like the time is right, they run in and they make plays happen. It might not happen this round, so I might, be looking stupid. But still, though, Version 1 has showed us that they are a scrappy team that wins by any means necessary. Am I worried about their gameplay and their style in international play? Fuck yes. I'm very worried about it because I think that they're way too vulnerable. They give up way too much of they have no map control, is what I'm trying to say. But still, the level of play that we get from Vanity, especially fucking Zelsis and Penny having his moments, is incredible. I'm happy to see them go all the way like this during the playoffs, but international play, I want them to shock the road again, man.
I think it's really interesting that you say that V1 don't have any map control, because I think on this map especially, Haven, Whippy is extremely annoying on the A side. So we actually see V1 push up on the extremities on A long and take control of that like FaZe did when they were getting a lot of success on this map as well. The Viper walls that Whippy was using, he was either using a wall to A long, so you couldn't really push A lobby at all. You would just die straight away. Or he'd go deep and send this Viper wall that covered the entrance into A lobby. It covered the window looking out into mid, and it also it goes all the way across. So the Viper walls was so oppressive, and I think, and combine this, of course, with the fact that you're still seeing V1 play double duelist with this setup, right? That I think there was a Rainer on that particular map there. But Whippy is really, really hard for C9 to deal with in that first map. And there are so many times where they just don't bother going A. A is just freeload. There's no chance for C9 to push that there. I think their attack on A was really pretty. I mean, they got 4 rounds on attack. Like they got effed on with V1's defense. So yeah, I mean, you know, Ascent was a little bit of a different story. I
Ascent
think
is
in general, I think-
exactly like directed. Like Ascent was purely like, okay, now we see what version 1 does compared to what Cloud9 Blue. And the reason why I say map control, I'm sorry to cut you off, dude. The reason why I say map control, look at that series right there. Look at the way that Cloud9 plays versus version 1. When Cloud9 plays Ascent, let's take a look at the default. They stretch everybody out everywhere. Every lane is covered. They're baiting utility and they're seeing what's there. Version 1, we're all going to go here or we're all going to go there. That is the definition of map control to me, and what you do with it after that. The thing is, they don't take that one side or one lane of the map just to control it. They wait there to just push in the site. They could, flanks were coming from Cloud9 Blue, and Cloud9 Blue, their methodical play definitely was an advantage there, but version 1 at the end of the day was just better in general. But I still feel like, yeah. I mean, Haven could have been a different story, but the map presence, the real estate that they owned wasn't a lot because of just their style of play. I mean, factually, they go four or five people to that site, that lane for that execute, which is what we saw earlier in Valorant in NA. It is heavily an NA thing.
There was one cool thing that I just wanted to quickly touch on, if I may. I was just going to say, like, with version 1, they had that game against 10v, and then they had to immediately play Cloud9 to qualify. They played Haven in both the best of 3 series. First time it was like a standard composition with like Killjoy or whatever. The second time they played that Viper, and they were taking some of the stuff that Liquid were doing with Viper on Haven overall. And it's just, I've never seen a team do that before, where they play the same map twice in a day and they change up the composition. The fact that they had the goal to do that, to go, we're going to spice this up. We've seen what these guys have done 2 days ago, and we're just going to cherry pick it. I think that's what I like about this version 1 team. Like, they had a finger on the pulse of the Astra stuff, the Viper areas. Clearly, some other teams didn't, and I think that's why they underperformed. And so I do feel that version 1 is kind of like, they're quite modest in that approach, kind of going that, like, we're just going to look around and take the best things that we see and just accept that we might not necessarily stand up against Sentinels, but we could take some of the other comps and ideas around the scene overall and just be the fastest to adapt. And I think that's one of the reasons why they qualified.
They have their own style too that looks really good. I like it. You never know what to expect from them, dude.
Yeah, I think that, like, you know, once they, like I said this earlier in the show, right? Once they caught off with the rest of the teams in NA, I think they actually adopted the strong metas really well. And I think they're getting a ton of value out of using the Viper right now, especially. They're still dabbling with Reynolds. They're definitely playing a style that works for them. I think that Zels has played like 3 different duelists over the course of that series. Both he and Penny. Also, Penny can flex to the Raze as well on maps where it just doesn't make a ton of sense to use the Jet, which is great. So they're looking really good. I'd be interested to see now, because the meta is not going to change appreciably between these matches and Iceland, right? Version 1 looked very good when they had to, people were scrabbling to try and adapt and make use of the Viper Astra comps as early as possible. Now there'll be a lot more time in between that, and I think that's actually where we saw teams like Immortals and Luminosity look a little weaker when people were able to adapt. Like, I remember Shazam saying they had like no time to, you know, adapt to that meta when they lost to him in the challenges a way back. So we'll see how they sort of pan out here. Let's hear some of the final moments here from V1, because you can tell these guys are pretty excited to go to Iceland.
I think we don't need to win this. Heaven dead. Heaven and right side pillar. Nice try. Enemies. Killjoy shit. Wait, nothing here. Backside! Planning for heaven.
Maybe run out.
Yeah, trying to come out. CT. Jets has a rifle on site. Jets here. Missing Astra. Astra dead. Jet here.
I'm playing heaven.
It's okay. I'm hiding on default. He's backside. Bro, Leaf just got 180'd. You guys should all go for it. Go for it.
I'll pop my wall. Go. Just come in. Reach the spot. Heaven.
He sucked.
Going ramp.
Yeah.
I guess spawn.
Above. Weird spot. He has knife. Nice! Let's fucking go!
You guys are fucking animals!
God, I love you guys. Good shit, man.
Oh my god.
I'm sweating. I'm shaking. I need to throw up.
Shut up. Do I type we qualified to Iceland or for Iceland?
I'm not tweeting our reaction. I'm only tweeting that.
So much about that is American. It is like from having only one way to express excitement in Let's Fucking Go to not knowing how to construct a sentence. Everything about that screams United States of America.
Yeah.
My God. Incredible stuff.
I'm not disagreeing.
I mean, good on him. Yeah, obviously, you know, hearing they're sucked over and over again in comms is always a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, Vanity looks incredibly good. He's obviously on the Astra. Normally, we saw him on the Omen. That team looks awesome. Talk about teams that didn't make it though. We got a very succinct packaging up of why 100 Thieves didn't make it. So we'll bless your ears with this one here as we keep moving.
Why do you look sad? Oh, we just lost a big tournament this weekend and not going to the first LAN, and we're sad, and we were the first seed going into it, and we lost 3 maps, 13-11. We lost half of our maps we actually played. We played 6 maps, 3 of them were 13-11. We're not going to the Iceland, and that's just the way it goes. Unlucky. Can I meet?
I mean, credit to that guy because he gets back on his streams pretty soon after losing, and it's a pretty devastating way to sort of fall out of the bracket here. I mean, the guy, I see the 5,000 plus subs is probably softening the blow a little bit there, but
yeah, it's literally the crying with money thing, isn't it? From the $1 million compound, yeah.
Right. I mean, he's not wrong though. I mean, I can say full-heartedly, like, if I have opinions about Envy and the reason why they lost. I have opinions for other teams and why they lost. When I look at 100 Thieves and the way they lose, it's so fucking weird. And Ryan, I want to hear this from an EU perspective as well. I don't feel like the players are bad. The players aren't lacking. Actually, I think the players are on an elite level individually too. From your eyes, as a European that watches this, what are your thoughts about 100 Thieves? Because I'm gonna be honest, when they lost, it wasn't like, oh, they suck, they need to change. It's like, damn, next time. It just wasn't their day. I don't have any terrible takeaways from them, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a slow adaptation to the meta, which, you know, people have literally written trilogies of books about on Reddit, and Steele's kind of dismissed them as just being, you know, fantasy. But I think the thing that kind of annoys me most out of like this 100 Thieves approach is it all feels a bit, oh, we got unlucky. And like that's not like a pro's mentality, surely. Like, I know you guys want to win.
He's not telling the truth.
No, I know. It's just one of those things where I feel like a lot of it, you know, like coming down to 13-11 rounds is like fair enough and stuff. But overall, I don't know. I've never seen a team kind of try and work around the issue almost, and having that big discussion with Steele on stream, kind of saying like, it's not that easy to just adapt to a meta and play that way. But I feel like it's your job to find a way. Like, every other team has the same issues that you do when it comes to, there's this new agent that's coming incredibly powerful. Viper's been buffed to a considerable amount. And I think you've had teams in Europe that were toying with Viper for the longest time. So that transition to pick her into other maps that they don't usually, to play her on bind and stuff, that seemed a bit more seamless. Whereas I feel like, yeah, you might have been really good for like First Strike and maybe even Masters 1. But if you're not sort of expecting a period where Viper can just come out of nowhere, and you're not really prepared on how to deal with those compositions and what to do, and you have to cram 3 days of scrims to work out how to go about playing it, I kind of feel like that's just like a fundamental error with how you're approaching Valorant. This isn't Counter-Strike. Shit is going to change constantly. So if you run into this and kind of go, well, there's only so much we can do, what's going to happen when we get the next agent that might come in and be super strong? What happens if Yoru gets buffed to a point where you need to play him all the time? You need to be prepared for that shit. And if you're not going to be the best team in North America. It's not about how good you are aiming or how good your Counter-Strike fundamentals is. You have to stay ahead of the curve, because Riot is going to sling some shit at you, and you need to deal with it.
Ryan, the reason why I asked you that specific question, because I talk a lot about comps with Stokes and Blue, right? And that is literally my only concern with 100 Thieves. I'm wondering, and I was actually looking up, are they the only team that didn't use Astra during that time frame? Like, being able to adapt to be able to use those, it doesn't make sense. And then take a look at Bind also for the 13, and the mindset of just, you know, the Omen flash, and you don't really have smokes or anything. It's kind of like, you know, if you kill Omen, there goes your flashes and your smokes. There's no utility stacking with this comp lineup. What is next for your plays? Because we know these strategies are well thought out. We know the intention behind them. but just the tools that you have in these lineups just aren't exactly what you need to pull off your thoughts. And that's really how I feel. Other than that, I feel like the moment they get over that hump and stop trying to force their play style in the game and just learn, like you said, 100 Thieves should be top 2 in NA.
It's like a really good casting analogy that I have, because like I've spoken about this a lot when it comes to like being adaptable and changing. Like I know that you've spoken about that with Overwatch and Counter-Strike and Valorant and all that stuff recently, where I've spoken to casters about stuff that they do, and I'm kind of like, I've heard stories of people saying you shouldn't do that because it's unprofessional, it's not. And they kind of go, well, that's just how I approach casting. That's how I approach doing this thing. Basically, kind of like, shoving away the advice that you're getting. And I feel that's kind of like 100 Thieves, right? Where it's like, maybe you should like consider this. And they're like, oh, we tried for 3 days and then we gave up. Like, it doesn't really fulfill you with that much confidence when you look at like Xset, you look at a place like we did, who was playing Viper ages ago, Poach for and Box, and now Built by Gamers. We don't have a player like that in 100 Thieves that's kind of going to go, well, I've been practicing Euro for weeks and I'm going to bring this out and we're going to experiment and change it. Just feels like they're kind of, we like the game as it was for First Strike and we want to play that way for as long as we can until we're literally forced. And this was them being literally forced to change and they couldn't handle it.
Why do you think that they're so resistant then to this adaptation? Like, what is it about 100 Thieves that makes them more interested in trying to fit their style over the template of Valorant as opposed to allowing themselves to be subject to the changes of meta?
I think it's just personalities. I think Hiko's the best example, right? Because he's great when the clutch play works, when he plays super late in the round, but we haven't seen him change that up at all, especially when it doesn't work. It feels like we either try it, if it works, great. Like Hiko looks like a god. If it doesn't work, he's the first name you pick out and go, that was a big underperformance from him. And like, you can't, if he continues with that, you kind of look at him and go, he might be a problem player for 100 Thieves, because he's not going, I should not do this anymore. It's the same play style that we've seen since First Strike, and there's no adaptability there. I'm not necessarily zoning him out as a specific issue, but there's inklings of that with all of the players. I think one of them that brings the stuff to the table nicely is Asuna, who, without Dicey in that lineup anymore, it's kind of all for him to do. And Ethan's still new to the game. Maybe he could be that experimental guy that's going to go, I'm going to play some Viper, I'm going to play some Euro, I'm going to be the guy that puts us out there and try some new stuff. But I don't see Steel doing it really, and I certainly don't see Hiko. What if Sova gets nerfed? What does Hiko do? Like, does he go back to Breach or Sky?
Well,
have we seen him on those ages in a while? It's just
every time this team plays split, I mean, 100 Thieves just don't want to fucking play it. And arguably it's because of it not being a great server map, or at least that's part of it. I mean, Ethan just got onto the team. Are they relying on, I mean, to be fair, based on some of his assignments and seeing him play the Sage, he might be the person that is expected to be super adaptable.
He needs to be a duelist.
These CS guys never really had to do this, though. You know what I mean? Like, this was never really, this wasn't a part of succeeding at Counter-Strike, I suppose. Adjusting to, there were metas in fairness, but I think, it was only in terms of the guns you would use and how your playstyle would change around, like using the Tech 9 or when the Revolver was good or the Krieg or whatever. But maybe it's got something to do with that. But either way, I wonder who would be the one to step up on that team, because you would think that based on their role, like, okay, here you go. Do we see much Sky from 100 Thieves?
No, and they need Sky, man. And not only that, but even the simplistic shit, like, there was a lot of talk in the beginning about the fact that, they wanted to get away from the op play, the jet, this and that. What happens whenever 100 Thieves has an op in their hand? When Steel is opping, those rounds, like, 100 Thieves are fucking untouchable. And then you think about the fucking possibilities and the fact that you're bringing up Skyo information. One of the biggest complaints about 100 Thieves is that they just didn't have the information at their disposal like other teams. But then now Reykjavik is real. You're looking at all these Korean teams, new turning them, where in Korea, it is very common that you see Sova and Sky in the same lineup, not just because Sky has flashes for you and she can heal people. It's because she gets information. You got to think bigger like that. And 100 Thieves, the moment that they think like that, they're going to be, a fucking issue, Ryan.
Yeah,
that excites me. It excites me. I'm sorry.
I just remember that quote around First Strike where Heretics won it in Europe, and you have Hiko kind of going, I don't get it. I don't get the Sage pick. It just, Europe doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't think there needs to, like, that age, like, fucking
he said they were behind.
Yeah, and I think it's just that. That's what it kind of feels from. Like, I don't want to. I really like 100 Thieves, and I like all of the players, but you need to have an innovator in that lineup. And you look at
Yes.
Fnatic, it's Boaster and Mini just drilling in ideas. If a new agent comes in, they practice with it to see what it's worth. I feel like 100 Thieves, when somebody like Astra comes out, they play it and go, nah, let's just go back to Omen. We don't need this. It's not going to be that good. And I feel like they're just constantly playing catch up with the meta.
Christ. If
That's
you,
what it
if you don't want
is.
to play it, then learn how to play against it.
They're ahead in individual skill in NA, but behind when it comes to comp meta. It's the weirdest thing.
I think
Because
it's just more, like when
they want to
get
be
up-
strategic. Sorry.
Is the like? No, I was just gonna say like it's when they catch up to the meta, they look like the best team on it. But it takes a while for them in comparison to somebody like Version1 or Sentinels that are a little bit more rapid when it comes to getting their heads around stuff. I just think they're a little bit slower in that approach.
Veli, I mean, let's talk about Cloud9 Blue, because obviously this team is starting to pan out, I think, a little bit more. And I think a lot of our expectations are really sort of being exceeded. Floppy looks like a really great addition to this team. Looks really quite good, but I want to get your take on it because I know you've been watching. You've been watching, fam.
I've been watching a little bit, fam. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is? I love Cloud9 Blue's approach to the game. Now, we all criticized him when Tins was on the team because Tins is he's a god when it comes to being an individual player. But from what we see now, Cloud9 Blue, that's not their approach. And I knew that this team was different from the very start, because whenever you look at the agent select screen, and it all starts with Zeta and his unselfish play with Breach, he opens things up for his team. They're not going to fly at you. They spread out around the map. They read what you're doing, and then they try to counter-strat it. But Zeta, he doesn't just support, though. He aces, he clutches, he gets big plays, and they're all on his resume. Now, the pacing with Cloud9 Blue, it's just stupid because they always leave space between you and them. And they want you to make the bad play. And if you want to make that bad play, the scariest shit about it is not going to be Zeta. You're going to have Leaf. You're going to have all those other players that are willing to take that 50-50 with the utmost confidence. And the thing is, that confidence isn't going to come from ego. That confidence comes from like a European Korean style of gameplay where it's like, we're not going to put ourselves in a bad situation. We're going to have tools. We're going to apply them. But if you want to go on this site, if you want to get this fight, you're going to have to come and play by our rules. If you want to rush in and be aggressive, good luck. I mean, Version1 had a lot of good luck doing that because they won that series. But still, though, Cloud9 Blue in the direction that they're going, I'm going to be completely honest. I thought they were going to win that series before that Version1 game happened because of just from what we saw. They look like, especially with their lineups, they look like they were doing what we're saying 100 Thieves should be doing. And that's the reason why it worked, in my opinion. It's just, they're smart, man. And those players are not the loudest. You don't look at them and say, oh, these, LeBron stature, whatever. These are players that are humble. They're not the biggest of superstars, but they get the job done. I think that Cloud9 Blue in the future, if they're not a top 4 team, I personally would be shocked.
How did we talked about things aging like milk, Ryan. You want to have a look at our predictions before the challenges playoffs? You want to see do you remember this? Belly, you're an impartial entity here, so I want you to rate our predictions now. I want you to, you can give us your thoughts and feedback on our predictions. None of us thought C9 would do anything. Definitely none of us thought V1 would go anywhere.
Y'all thought XSET was going to do it? Why?
Yeah, because I
like XSET, but why?
Because they started to look a lot better and they just looked mad good at using the Astra. I'm like, these guys use Astra like we did. This looks so good, man. I'm like,
I know we did.
There was a lot of rep
also,
in the
I think
set.
I interviewed Psycho on that same episode, and I was feeling really like high on.
And Ryan, I know you ain't trying to chime in. So Ryan, when we look at Envy as well, my guy, Envy is I used the example earlier. It's the Envy effect, man. Dominate the hell out of seeding events, and then when the big thing happens, it's like, yo, Victor, Crashies, Mummy, and all them, I'm expecting him to pop off, but it doesn't happen. It's like, damn, I love this team. They're not giving me what I need right now. Sentinel's a very smart pick. I would say the smartest person right here, 1,000,000%, Ryan.
Oh, it's the closest.
It's pretty safe. What do you mean? You would have? I guess you were closer than me, technically. Yeah.
100 Thieves. I give what Van Seal was trying to do. You said Sentinels and XSET. Sentinels, I give. XSET wasn't on my upper tier of teams when it came to this at all. If anything, I'm gonna be honest.
The bed, bro. Yeah.
You know who I would have. You know who I probably.
Yeah, I want to know.
As a hot take, I would have taken Sentinels for sure, and then NRG.
Ooh,
I would have taken NRG because I have a theory that Tex and Android are gonna be the fucking shit together. I think Tex and Android are gonna be the duo that we've just been waiting for in NA that just goes crazy. Kind of like what we saw with Asuna and Dicey in the beginning, right? That's what I want to see from them.
That team is so stacked. That team
know.
is so stacked. Dapr, Som, EU.
Oh, come on, Uber. It's a
dude, I
wet
know.
dream, man. But those would have
know.
been my picks, though, and I would have been way wrong as well, which is a good
All right.
thing.
I mean, you made the chaotic. You predicted FaZe Clan to win that Challengers 3, I think it was, back in stage 1, and that was like at the time the most fucking Papega take.
That was dumb luck. Hey, I could take all the credit in the world for that. I'd be like, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. I'm gonna be real. I saw something. Did I believe in it with my whole heart? Nah. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Heart of the Cards was not there, man. Not at all. I had my day, Uber. That was it.
Absolutely. Yeah, big shout out to Grumtot in the stream who doesn't realize he's walked into a show and not Valorant, bro. Yeah, big shout out to those that go to the Valorant section and look for the streams with like 40 viewers and click on those. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you, mate? Oh shit. Anyway, we've got better things to do than to have some random fuck come in here and have no idea what kind of chat he's walked into.
That's not very
guys,
nice
been a pleasure.
to say to Vansili. Man, he's not even here anymore.
Listen, I don't have time. I don't have time for Vansili if he's not on the show. You know what I mean? He's out there in his fucking car park, bro. Like surely you could watch anime on your phone. You know what I mean? There's so many other things that you could do if you had the choice. Anyway, obviously, by the time we come back next week, we still won't be. We'll be very close to Masters, but we still won't be there.
Up.
Yeah.
Like,
so
next week, nothing happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna try and obviously find out. We'll keep an eye on events as they develop next week, because this show, for those that maybe are just finding out, Valoranting is a show where we talk about Valorant. We don't actually play it. We talk about the happenings around the Valorant scene. We talk about tournament results. We talk about roster changes. We talk about patches and changes to the game. It's basically a bunch of guys talking about Valorant. That is exactly what the show is, just to set expectations for everybody. That's what we do here.
if I had to play the game instead of talk about it, I'd be homeless at this point, to be fair. So
exactly. I'm a caster for a reason. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be all for today. We'll be back next week again, catching you up with all the news that has happened over the last week, and of course, continuing to build some of that excitement going into Reykjavik. Thanks, Valley, for coming back. Ryan, great to have you back here again. Everybody in the chat, even those that don't understand the purpose of a show, it's been a pleasure to have you along, and we'll see you next Tuesday.